Now, our feature presentation.
What's up, Philly? We're the gang from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Let's go Flyers!
Hey everybody, it's me, Timmy Flyersguy, and welcome to episode 95 of Classic Flyers Theater. We're getting very close to the 100th episode of Classic Flyers Theater. But in today's episode, we're going to take you back to Game 5 from the 2000 playoffs as the Philadelphia Flyers face off against the Pittsburgh Penguins. In their last game in that series, the Philadelphia Flyers and the Pittsburgh Penguins had one of the longest games in hockey history, which was a game that went into 5 overtimes when Keith Primo scored the game-winning goal to give the Flyers the victory at Mellon Arena in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I hope you all enjoy this episode because it's a very exciting episode, so make sure you check it out. Let's roll the footage.
ABC's coverage of the Stanley Cup playoffs welcomes you to Philadelphia. It is Game 5. The Pens and the Flyers are tied in the series at 2-2. They played the third longest game in NHL history the last time out. What will they have left? This is what they have left. Pre-game skate today. Matthew Barnaby, the agitator. John Van Beesbrook, go sit over there where you spend the whole game watching it. And he did that with more than one Flyer. Welcome, everybody. Gary Thorne along with Bill Clement. So, Game 5, and here we go.
Here we go. To me, Gary, the Flyers clearly have all of the momentum in this game, not just because they won the marathon, but because they got their two big power forwards going in Pittsburgh, John LeClair and Keith Primo. LeClair scored in games 3 and 4, and, of course, Primo ended the marathon. So, momentum is on the Flyers' side. What do the Penguins have? Well, they still have the greatest offensive player in the world, and this is an emotional challenge for the Penguins today. How do they get revved up? The best thing that could happen for the Penguins is if Jágr comes out in the very first shift and says, give me the puck, I want to own it today.
These teams have not been able to win a home game. That's why this series is tied at 2-2. He would like to have one shift back in his whole career. Darius Kasparaitis, last game, was on the ice. Last shift, he's the defenseman. Then, Keith Primo went around it, 12-01 of the fifth overtime, and the game-winning goal.
And welcome to our ABC Stanley Cup Playoff Studios. John Saunders and John Davidson. Technically, this is game number 5, but reality says it's game 6.5. They played 2.5 games the other night.
For us, too, sitting back watching that thing all night long, it was a fantastic game. And when you think about this game, John, for the Philadelphia Flyers, they lost their first 2 games on home ice. It was a meltdown regarding their discipline, but they regrouped, refocused, and give them credit. Their best players have stayed out of the penalty box, and so far they've been able to get the job done in games 3 and 4. Now, with Pittsburgh, to me, the goaltender is the key, obviously, when you go on a road. And if you think about Ron Tugnutt, who's been so good for Pittsburgh, he grew up idolizing Bernie Parent, the former Flyer great goaltender. And as this game has developed, this series has developed, the Flyers are going up top. There, game winner in overtime, up top, over the hands of Ronnie Tugnutt. The other one by Primo late in the middle of the night, up top, over the top. And I think you'll see a lot of high shots on Tugnutt in this game.
All right, the road team has won the first 4 games in this series. The last time it happened, the first 5, was back in '95.
It's an amazing feeling. You work so hard all year long, and to come to this point of almost ecstasy, really, The feeling, the deafening of the crowd, everything, it's something I'll never forget. And, every year that you don't win it, I know what I'm missing. For the guys that don't have it, they keep getting motivated by people telling them what it's about. But for the guys that have won one, you want it every year. It's addicting.
The Stanley Cup Playoffs on ABC, brought to you by IBM. Are you ready for e-business? Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NHL. And MasterCard, official card of the NHL and fan of the toughest players on the planet.
Series started at 2-2. Mark Fawcett, Don Van Massenhoven, the referee, Scott Driscoll, Ray Scampanello, and Matthew Barnaby is starting as the third line will be out there for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the faceoff will be won back by the Pens. We are underway. 2 days rest. That's one thing both of these teams lucked out on, is that they had 2 days instead of one before they had to come back for this one. Ripped wide. Mercy, first chance, almost for Bay. Brought back Kasparaitis, lost it in the middle. Langkow scores! Philadelphia 1, Pittsburgh 0.
What an incredible start here. Herb Brooks of the Penguins decided to start his third line, his momentum line. Veronic, Torbay, Barnaby, they almost scored. But Mark Recchi picked up a little Karen that John Leclerc put off the boards, sent him away. Darius Kasparaitis actually banged it, I think, off of Mark Recchi's pads. It went right to Damon Langkow. Langkow thought for a second about getting it back to Recchi, nothing doing, and Ron Tugnut, who had been like a stone wall in goal for the Pittsburgh Penguins, has allowed a goal here 23 seconds into Game 5.
He had 70 saves in Game 4. Ron Tugnut, the first shot against him in Game 5 is a goal. Damon Langkow is having an unbelievable playoff. He leads Philadelphia with 8 points, second in goals with 4.
Gary, can you believe that Darius Kasparaitis has picked up exactly where he left off?
He's -2.
Being the defensive focal point, not only of the game-winning goal in number 5 period overtime in Game 4, but here 23 seconds in.
And that is a back-breaking goal right there. Kasparaitis playing at a -3 in this series is now at a -4. 23 seconds in, Tugnut had to make another save as Terrien dumped it in. Langkow's first of this series, fourth of the playoffs. Recchi and Leclerc on the even strength goal. Jágr's out there now. Jágr dropped it back. Obviously, this is fired up Philadelphia. Primo took him to the corner hard. Bob Bugner. Bugner got leveled by Primo. Centering pass 2-on-2 the other way. Philadelphia back strong with McGillis there. Poke checked away. McGillis just reached in. Both teams changing up. Knocked down at center. Jammed off the near side boards. Mandeville trying to get it in. Could not. Simon Gagne is a scratch in this game for Philadelphia as the youngsters out of there with an injury. Gino Ojek, Mark Eaton, Noel Samuelson, and of course Eric Lindros all out. Battle in the corner for it. Pinned up. See if they can move it out of there. Greg Berube got some help. Came in the middle. Hull, and he wristed it wide. Stepping up, Dan McGillis from the far side. Left it to the point. Intended for Hull in front as they tried to set it up. Had Berube and Hull. Berube intercepted. Ended to come out of the zone. Philadelphia will get back and also will change it up here. They're putting big early heat on Pitt.
And if there was an emotional challenge for the Penguins before this game started, which I believe there was, because, oh, here it is, look at this.
Another turnover, deflected out in front. Backing up with it, Peter White. White dropped it in behind the net. White getting time and a penalty coming on Hans Johnson. Not a good start. Hans Johnson took down Greg, who is at the side of the net. Just hooked him.
And it has taken Coach Craig Ramsey of the Flyers less than 2 minutes to get Mark Gregg into this game here, because he is the man that is suiting up in Simon Gagne's absence. And now the hole is deep for the Penguins. I was saying that I think there's a real emotional challenge that the Penguins face coming in because Herb Brooks and his guys lost that marathon game. That emotional hole has just gotten deeper. There's the one man, you're looking at him, Jaromir Jágr, that can single-handedly dig his guys out of whatever hole they're in, but he has to come out and look as if he is obsessed with having the puck on his stick. Here's a look at it. Here's why the Flyers will go on the power play. Mark Gregg was kind of getting a little bit of position, and he did a pretty good job of getting tangled up in the net and Hans Janssen's stick at the same time here to make this thing look real good.
Power play opportunity. It'll be held in by Desjardins, who dumped it up to Langkow, who's already got the goal. Power play, Philadelphia right through the top of the crease. McGillis shot, save, and where is it? Tugnut looked behind him. The 32-year-old veteran wasn't sure he had a hold of it. He did.
One of the things that Craig Ramsay wants his guys to do is shoot on Ron Tugnut. He has felt that in this series, Tugnut has been so good, and as John Davidson mentioned, they want to shoot high. Craig Ramsay would simply settle for shots like this one from Dan McGillis on the power play with the screen in front. When a goalie is that hot, you tend to have the mentality as a forward, gosh, I gotta get real close or I better not shoot. So the Flyers have really passed up shots that their coach thinks could have been good scoring opportunities.
And you really want to do that now. McGillis does as he dumped it in, played by Kasparaitis, taken down in behind the net. Recchi will hold that one in. John Leclerc will work on the power play unit as he heads to the front of the net now. Back on top, Desjardins. Umbrella power play, 1-2-2. McGillis off the top of that circle, back to the blue line. Pittsburgh challenging. Philadelphia 1 for 18 in this series in the power play, but 10 for 46 in the playoffs. Third best among the playoff teams. Desjardins, they get two out in front, including Leclerc. Desjardins didn't get much of that one, and it'll be cleared out.
You know, there was a chance we were going to see Mark Recchi back on the point on the power play here in Game 5. Craig Ramsay had planned to mix it up, but now with Gagne out of the lineup, pretty good bet Recchi's going to be up front the entire game.
That one blocked by Yuri Slager, who's back in the lineup after having the right knee in the last game that prevented him from playing. Back on top to Desjardins. Power play still 48 seconds. They've held it in the whole time. McGillis, save made. Rebound, McGillis, save made. Rebound, Slager tried to get it out, couldn't, and Tugnut will cover. It's all Flyers. Wow, let's check in with Brian England downstairs. Bri?
Gary, Game 4 in Pittsburgh was like an epic mini-series. Unbelievable to watch. And we have a special guest here. The man who did the color commentary in that game, a guy who's been on intravenous for the last day and a half. Darren, tell us about the game. It was incredible.
I finally just put on the 8 pounds that I lost, and it was very difficult for these players. 6 players on Philadelphia on IV between periods, only 1 for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Psychologically, edge absolutely in favor of the Philadelphia Flyers, as you can see in this game. Physically, that's anyone's guess, but certainly right now, it's the Philadelphia Flyers that have that edge.
Steve Levy, Darren Pang, great job on a most difficult game in 5 overtimes. They don't make enough coffee for those games.
Or pizza.
Or pizza. And they didn't in that house either. Shot and score! Power play goal! Andy Delmore! And just where did he come from?
He came from Game 3. Andy Delmore, the hero of Game 3, has shot high on Tugnut and given the Flyers a 2-0 lead. A huge face-off win by Keith Primo. Look at the puck on end. I'm not sure Delmore had a choice but to shoot it high. It is hard to keep the puck low, and Delmore was more concerned with getting the shot away quickly than he was getting it flat. Good decision by Delmore just to make sure that he ripped it when it was teed up on end. And this puck beat Ron Tugnut in exactly the same place that Keith Primo beat him to end the marathon game, Game 4.
Who would have thought in this series that Andy Delmore would be their leading scorer in this series, and that in the playoffs, Damon Langkow would be their leading scorer?
One of the reasons Andy Delmore, I think, has been a factor is because of his coach, Craig Ramsay. Craig Ramsay has played his young guys, played them a lot down the stretch when the Flyers really did grab their momentum. And Andy Delmore has responded incredibly. He scored 2 goals in Game 3, including the overtime winner, and here he gives the Flyers a 2-zip lead.
Andy Delmore, shot on, saved by Tugnut. And right now, Pittsburgh cannot get the puck out of their defensive zone. Tocchet ran that one right in on him. 3:27, Delmore's third of the playoffs, all in this series. Recchi Primo the assist, and the house They're raising the roof here in Philadelphia.
Well, the Penguins have to stabilize this thing right now. They need to chop it up, get as many whistles as they can. Tugnutt hold the puck like he did here. He's not going to put it back in play. And the best thing the Penguins could do would be counter right away. Take the crowd back out of it by countering with a goal quickly. Might be easier said than done. The Flyers are really wound up, and there's no secret to the Flyers game. The Penguins know that. Drop the puck, they just come at you, with the puck or without the puck.
Boy, they are doing it now. The shots are 8-0. 8 shots, and we're not even 4 minutes into this period. And Pittsburgh has not even been down at the other end, except on the first shift. Another turnover at center, Desjardins. It bounces into the zone. Bob Boughner back to get it. Delmore played just 27 games during the regular season with the big club, had 2 goals. And here he is with 3 goals in the playoffs, all coming against Pittsburgh when they needed them most. Therrien on the turnover. Yager got stood up behind the play and didn't like it very much. He was in a conversation with Keith Jones. Jones is always willing to carry on a conversation. Bob Boughner moved that one out. Yager got it ahead. Flyers all over Yager. Therrien picked him up that time. The key, obviously, with Jaromir Yager, know where he is, always have somebody there. That's very difficult to do. He's great in finding that open ice in that little hole. But here in the first period on that shift, he didn't have any. That one wrister partially blocked. Centering pass! What a chance! It went right through the top of the crease, and Corbeil could not get a stick on it. A big non-goal right there. Bounced off the side of the net. Corbeil lost it, shot burnt wide. Corbeil back to get it. Takes the hit from Greg. Cleared up the near side wall, but not very far. And just bounced out of the zone, Matthew Barnaby. Barnaby came on in the pregame, yakking at everybody on the ice. He was wearing a Flyer uniform. Boucher will hold on to that one on the backhander by Baranek.
Well, you know, the Flyers led Game 3 2-0, and the Penguins were able to come back and tie them. The Flyers ultimately won it in overtime, but a 2-0 lead is not insurmountable. But the Penguins were at home. These are Brian Boucher's numbers, and the Penguins would like to test Brian Boucher in the first 10 minutes. He seems to have butterflies early. He was scored upon in Game 4, really with an unstoppable shot by Alex Kovalev, but then he dug in. Here is Baranek on this last rush, trying to use the defenseman as a screen. That was Adam Bird. If anything, this line was a little too aggressive. They were all too close to the net. Corbeil was almost standing in the paint. All 3 forwards right up tight. If Corbeil hangs out a little bit, he might have that one. But to exploit Boucher, you got to get something on him early, because the Penguins also know that once Boucher gets past about the halfway point of the first period, boy, does he dig in.
Yep. Pittsburgh wins the draw. Back to Popovic for a chance, and Boucher will glove it. Obviously, down 2-0 early, the Pittsburgh Penguins got to do the same thing Philadelphia wants to do, and that's get the puck to the front of the net.
Herb Brooks has made a change in this lineup tonight. And today, Alexei Morozov is in, and that's Joseph Baranek, who was impacted by Morozov coming in. Baranek has, interestingly enough, worked his way from the first line all the way down to the third line in this series in 5 games, but at least he is playing on a regular rotation. Herb Brooks wanted to give Morozov a chance. He's got great hands and great talent. If he's strong enough mentally, he can help the Penguins today.
And Pittsburgh. Lankow dropped it off. Back on D again. Lankow behind the net. Lankow, Recchi, and Leclaire on this line. Popovic puts the hit on Leclaire. Down he goes. Leclaire still moving the puck. 2 goals in this series and almost another. Oh, the heat is on. Kasparaitis picks it up. There he is, Kasparaitis. Move that one to the near side. Pens facing a Flyers team that is rocking and rolling here in this Sunday noontime game. Right out in front. Lang was looking for it. Intercepted before it got there and cleared out of the zone. Both teams line up changes for this game. Kovalev back. Kovalev was a question as to whether or not he would be able to start this game. Obviously, he's got a breathing problem with congestion and sinuses, and you don't stay out of this one unless you absolutely have to. And he came out, took the skate, said, I can go.
Breathe through your mouth.
Any way you got it.
Simple.
Yeah, through your toes. That's what it takes. Knocked in offside. 13:44. Great to have you with us here in Philadelphia. Shots are 9-2 in favor of the Flyers, who have a 2-0 lead. Philadelphia with a 2-0 lead. Bear in mind, though, the Pittsburgh Penguins have scored more goals on the road this year than any playoff team. Exactly the opposite of what they were doing during the regular season. They have scored 17 goals on the road in the playoffs, outscoring the opposition 17-5. That's going to be an offside. Face off back to center.
I'm going to go back and take a look at the Flyers' first goal that really got them jump-started here. Damon Lankow's goal. Play started deep in the Flyer zone. It was passed up here to John Leclerc, and he just chipped it out. Now the defenseman pinched in, so he wasn't caught. He had people coming back, but here's where the Penguins got in trouble. You stop right here for a second. You see this is where Kasparaitis tried to chip it back in the boards. There's another Penguin and another Penguin. They're all over on the boards. Nobody has Damon Lankow. Nobody's even thinking of him. They're betting on Kasparaitis to get it by Mark Recchi. In this case, they bet wrong.
Two quick goals. Yuri Slager on the far side. Poked it ahead. Not out of the zone, though. Again, Delmore held it back in behind the net. Slager put the check on. Puck still loose. Yuri Slager trying to pick up the physical play. Peter White out in front waiting for the return. Never got through. The near side wall just bounced away. Played behind the net. Gregg looking. Mark Gregg cleared up the near side. Pittsburgh not winning the battles in the corners, not finding a way to lose, to move that puck out through center ice. It is a struggle right now for the Pens. We've got to find a way to try and get that adrenaline flowing in this game.
I said it would be an emotional challenge. The body follows the mind. I mean, if they're hurting emotionally, it's going to show in their one-on-one battles.
Ian Moran put the good hit on there. Centering pass, though, went astray as Philadelphia. Good job of back-checking at it covered. That was cleared out by Adam Bird, who just took a shot near side. Another jam up with Valeri Zalapukin. Knocked down. Verdino looking for a little room, can't find it. Pittsburgh being led in this series by Jaromir Jagr's 5 goals, and Martin Straka has picked up 5 assists, 7 points. Players flying all over the place behind the play. Valeri Zalapukin got knocked down. Jones got leveled.
The Flyers are really doing a diligent job now of taking Jaromir Jagr before the puck even gets to him and keeping him from getting the Penguins back in the game. I mean, Jagr, I think, has touched the puck once, and Keith Jones was on him. Bang.
And staying right in his jersey. Jaromir Jagr's in no room here in the first 8 minutes of this period. 9-3 the shots in favor of the Flyers, who are dominating early here. A reminder, next Sunday, ABC's coverage of the Stanley Cup playoffs will continue. It'll be live at 3 o'clock Eastern, 12 Pacific. Check the local listings for the game in your area.
And Jaromir Jagr is going to see not only a set of defensemen backing up, but a forward coming across. Keith Jones did it the last time. But that's part of the Flyers' philosophy. When they have the puck, they want to go straight ahead to the other end and attack Ron Tugnutt. When they don't have the puck, whoever's carrying it for the Penguins can count on getting attacked. That is part of the Craig Ramsey philosophy. If it's a forward, if it's Keith Jones in the neutral zone, whoever the closest guy is to whoever has the puck for the Penguins, watch it. There's going to be a guy dressed in white coming right at him.
Popovic cleared it out, in on side. Martin Straka can be a difference in this game if Jagr is going to get tied up and not have room. Popovic stepped up to try and hold it in. Pushed away. Desjardins got it out. Kasparaitis was back. They had Rick Tocchet back there in a one-on-one. Popovic again moves it in. Backhander deflected. Desjardins wide side Jagr. Jagr the wrister save made Boucher as Straka was set up in front trying to redirect. Now Jagr is going to pick up on the hitting. Jaromir Jagr clearly upset with the way he's getting bounced around here in the first period. Took a shot that last time on the far side boards on Kent Manderville. Back to center. Philadelphia will change it up. Jagr returning in his own end. Jones right there with him. Back up. Played by Dan McGillis. McGillis a +1 coming into this game in this playoff year. Pittsburgh at center. Making the line change. Corbeil on. His shot got deflected wide. McGillis got a piece of that with a stick. Danny Laukkanen stepped up to hold it in. Terrien, though, intercepted in the corner. Flyers try it off the boards out to center. Came free there. Laukkanen was back on D. They'll wave off any icing. It'll have to be played down low. Coming in on the check, Barnaby. Barnaby's looking for a couple of heads right now. Barnaby and Richardson. Richardson and Barnaby talked during the pregame skate today. They were pointing sticks at one another, but stayed on the other side of the ice. In front, Barnaby trying to deflect it. It went wide. There's some banging going on behind the play. Philadelphia will dump it in.
You know, in the warm-up, Matt Barnaby was yapping, I think, at everybody. Somebody to answer. The time we looked down, it happened to be Luke Richardson, but Matt Barnaby came out completely wound up and ready to play.
Trying to take Philadelphia off their game before the game had even started. John Leclerc's got it 3-on-3. Into the middle, Delmore, Recchi. Delmore still has it. Trying to get it down the boards to Recchi. Slager blocked it. Lang along the left side, lost again. 2-on-1 down low. Leclerc in the middle. John Leclerc, it got blocked. A 2-on-1 on the turnover, but for the deflection by Hans Janssen.
Great defensive play, but a turnover again by the Penguins. Yuri Slager. I mean, the Flyers will lead them just as the Penguins will lead the Flyers if they turn the puck over too much.
Morozov got double teamed behind the net. Lang came away with a puck, dropped it back, had nobody on the near side. The Flyers have Pittsburgh scrambling with passes that are going nowhere in particular. Held in, Boucher looking, but no chance for the shot. Behind the net, Lang again. Lang looking out in front. Lang had Morozov cutting and a whistle down low. We're going to have probably matching minors here, and the action in front. We'll pick it up when we come back. The Flyers have the 2-0 lead in this game as they jump out early. Blankow at 23 seconds. Delmore at 3:27. Flyers are flying. Matching minors, Kovalev cross-checking and Bird hooking, 10:41.
Here's Matt Barnaby and Luke Richardson. I think Matt Barnaby wants to try to get the Flyers off their game. I mean, he was part of the process in Game 2. The Flyers just melted down discipline-wise in Game 2. Yager even took Kent Manderville. When Jaromir Jagr's into the game physically, he's all right, even with the noon start here in Philadelphia.
He's going to be okay, apparently, because he put a pretty good shot on right there. Back in behind the net, Flyers have it. Yager's out there on the forecheck. Rink wide open on these passes. Primo in, rolled it in, Tugnut covered it up, Slager knocked it away. Primo, sportsmanlike on that one. He could have demolished Tugnut and kept on going and maybe been all right with it. Leclerc! Primo! Tugnut holds on the short side. Leclerc, Primo in behind the net, so they got two big guys in this 4-on-4 playing up front. Looking for Primo, was there, but it went through and can't be held in by Terrien.
Chris Terrien tried to spin-a-rama. He wanted to just deflect the puck and spin around and jumped over his stick. John Leclerc in front of the net. Perhaps the most difficult guy in the NHL to control. Hans Janssen had him in front. And the mistake a lot of rookie guys and young guys will make is they'll try to play John Leclerc's body. It is hopeless. You have to tie up his stick.
Yager, the leading scorer in the playoffs, had it bounced away. 4-on-4, his kind of matchup. Yager will head to the bench and took a shot doing so. Blankow's got one of the goals, sent it in. Johnny Laukkonen back to get it. Laukkonen a +7 in the playoffs for Pittsburgh coming into this game. Overskated, but brought up nevertheless. Klubner. No, did he pay a price? Richardson knocked him down. That freed the puck up. Here comes Recchi. Recchi dropped it off. Heads to the net. Blankow and it bounced over his stick. Kasparaitis in the corner. Great work by Mark Recchi. Recchi came all the way around and dug it out. Tried to center. Had it blocked once on the attempt to clear. Lang got it out. McGillis misses the check. Played by Richardson.
Biggest thing the Flyers are doing better than the Penguins right now is the little things. The Penguins are not getting the puck in. They're not getting the puck out.
Manderville a shot. Tugnut made the save on that one. Shots piling up. It was 8-0 to start this game in shots in favor of the Flyers. Now 11-4. Down the middle. Just missed wide Terrien. Terrien split two defensemen that time and actually got a pretty good shot off. Barnaby trying to dump it wide. 5-on-5 again now. Matching minors over. Played by Desjardins behind the net. Barnaby all over him. A little face rub as he went into the corner. Still trying to ratchet it up. Peter White partially deflected over the head of Tugnut. Both teams' line changes. First period, 6:58 to go. Wide open. Two quick goals by the Flyers, setting the pace in this game. And Pittsburgh trying to get one of those back. Off the near side, Tyler Wright. Wright will send it into the corner. Brown out there with him. Puts the check on Delmore. Delmore in the heart around Ian Moran stepped up to try and hold it in. Adam Burt's got it. Burt, the defenseman, helping to create on-man rushes. White winds up, save! Tugnut! Talk about an hour and a half to shoot! Peter White wound up twice. Let's check in with John Saunders. John?
Gary here with John Davidson on the Dodge update. Take it back to last night. The Devils, great play by Gomez, gets it over to Nemchinov. The goal is the Devils start to assert themselves, and then the game winner.
This is John Madden, the lead penalty killer, getting a goal. One of the rookies for the Devils. Can you believe this? Toronto is 0 for 18 in the series on their power play, and Madden scores. Guys?
And a reminder, the Dodge Intermission Report upcoming. JD's ABCs of Hockey, the Avalanche rumbling on, and who are they going to face? Talk about the Sharks.
A couple of scoring chances for the Penguins, but the Flyers could be up 3 or 4 to nothing right now. Peter White pumped and waited till he was by the obstacle that was lying in front of him. defenseman had gone down to block the shot, so Peter White just kept pumping and pumping. You know, that marathon game the other night wasn't anything for Peter White. He played 12 pro games in 15 days this season between the American League and the NHL. He said that was the toughest thing that I've ever done.
He only got 4 games in with the Philadelphia Flyers, did pick up a goal, and now here he is in the playoffs. There are always great stories, surprise stories in the playoffs, and we've noted a couple of them, and White is one of those here in this game, and certainly Andy Delmore. Tipped in by Tocchet. Rick Tocchet, 131st playoff game for the veteran. Up there among the league leaders all time in penalty minutes. Chipped away by Brown, Tyler Wright. Wright will clear it out. Is it my imagination, Billy? Jaromir Jagr has not had a lot of ice time here in this first period, has he?
When he's been out, he hasn't been very assertive. He looks like he's standing around. The other thing is the Flyers are being, really diligent and staying close to him. They want to keep him from getting the puck.
He's only had 4 minutes, 14 seconds so far, and there's 5:39 left to go. Jaromir Jagr in that overtime game, 59 minutes and 8 seconds played in that game for Pittsburgh. And doesn't meet Dan McGillis, though. He beat everybody. 61 minutes, 5 seconds. 61 minutes he played that night. Lang, in, shot, Kovalev, rebound. Couldn't get the shot off. Chipped out the center, Leclerc. Leclerc and Recchi doing the defensive work that time to move it out. Popovich will clear that one back in behind the net. Boucher could not stop it. Bear in mind, Boucher's not given up a goal now in a long time. He went 149 minutes and 26 seconds in that last game without giving up a goal with all those overtimes, and he hasn't given one up here yet. Faced only 5 shots. Kovalev's got it. Kovalev trying to dish it in. No one there to pick it up. Richardson will. Philadelphia will change it up, and it'll be dumped in behind the net. Back to get it. Tugnutt holds it there. Hans Janssen. 4:39 to go in the first, and what Pittsburgh needs is that one goal here. That one bounced in offside. 4:36 ABC's coverage of the Stanley Cup playoffs from Philadelphia. Shots coming from that game 4, 6 hours, 56 minutes, an NHL record in time, and the 3rd longest
of that stuff.
That's right. How anybody remains skating or talking, for that matter, that's a mystery.
Got to the intravenous, because by the end of the game you think you're from the planet Venus.
Another turnover as Slager got tied up with Tugnutt down low, and they couldn't decide who was going to handle the puck, and lost it again. That is happening here in this first period as well. Greg Berube was right over there in the corner to take it, reaches in and pulls it out. Berube looking back onto the point. Desjardins and Therrien are out there. Shot deflected off bodies to the near side. That hits Slager on the way in. Jody Hull off the near side wall. White will drop it back. Flyers changing up behind the play, so they'll have somebody back. Martin Straka. They had 4 back. Straka nowhere to go. Therrien stepped in, stood him straight up, and he lost control of the puck. Third back ahead at the center. Baranek had it, lost it. Tied his man up long enough, though, to knock the puck away a second time. Dumped into the zone. Onside. Bob Bugner got back there. Lost it again. Anderville cutting to the net. Centering pass to him was intercepted and held back by White. Back at the point, it is all Philadelphia here in this first period. White held it in again. Looking back to the point, Pittsburgh is chasing the puck. Down low, covered up by Tugnutt. Peter White standing on the doorstep.
Well, clearly the Ron Tugnutt mystique has been damaged. I mean, it may not affect the way Ron Tugnutt plays, but the Flyers are now going to fire from everywhere. You can see them gain their confidence after Langkow scored. We mentioned that Coach Craig Ramsey of the Flyers has wanted his guys to pump a lot of pucks at Tugnutt. He's getting that now. Great play there by number 9, Mark Gregg of the Flyers. He dumped it to Peter White, and White just one-touched it to Valeri Zelepukin. But when you have this line come out here, which is the Flyers' 3rd line, and just dominate in the Penguins zone, it is confirmation that the Penguins are absolutely back on their heels. The little things are not going right for them. The Flyers sense that. They're an attack mode team. You mentioned Therrien standing up in the neutral zone. McGillis standing up in the neutral zone. I mean, they're not going to back up on the Penguins at all. I mean, because right now they've got the Pens on the run.
You saw Tugnutt came in with the best numbers, save percentage, goals against. But right now, Philadelphia's putting a few holes in those numbers.
That was Mark Gregg. One thing is certain. To play for Craig Ramsey, you have to be able to skate. So not even knowing anything about Mark Gregg, you can assume he can skate.
and has shown that down low inability to get it done. Tyler Wright won the faceoff. That's something Pittsburgh has had go right here in this first period. They were dead last among the playoff teams in faceoffs coming into this game. They've won a few of those, but have not been able to control the puck once they get it off the draw. Jones knocked it down, sent in by Manderville, knocked down by Ian Moran. And that one will just be feathered into the zone. Played along the near side. Brown got picked up off the ice. Adam Berg, Brown, both skates off the ice and into the glass. He was trying to avoid the impact of that. This should be an icing call at the other end. Kasparaitis will touch it up. Let's check in with Darren Pang. Darren?
Well, Garrett, the last rookie goaltender for the Flyers to lead their team to the Stanley Cup Finals, of course, was Ron Hextall in 1987. I'm sure Hexy thought that he was going to go back to the Stanley Cup Finals year in and year out. That didn't happen. It was his very best season. For Brian Boucher, the youngster for the Philadelphia Flyers right now, who's to say Game 4 won't be the best game that he ever plays in his entire NHL career? And here's a guy that has really built up the foundation of confidence, and you can tell that the Philadelphia Flyers are feeding off this young fella. Remember, he struggled early in a couple of games, but as they've gone on, he's gotten better and better and better. He seems to have continued that in this one.
Well, he survived early because the Penguins didn't get much at him, so it was never a question. And Brian Boucher is in the game. Somebody who's not in the game, and we just mentioned it a few minutes ago, and we cannot visually find him on the bench, and that is Jaromir Jagr.
Kovalev's shot is blocked. Jaromir Jagr left the penalty coming up here on the Flyers. Saw the check from behind down there. Jagr left the skate when they were warming up before they ever did their line combinations. But with Jagr, you never know if that means anything, because Jaromir Jagr kind of comes and goes as he wants. But now he's been missing for about 4 to 5 minutes here, and he's not on the bench.
Steve Lattin is, and he is the equipment manager for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And if Jaromir Jagr's got an equipment problem, Steve Lattin would be the guy that would accompany him. And there's Steve. That is not a positive sign. Kind of interesting, too. Keith Primo, for about 5 minutes, was away from the Flyers bench in the locker room. A lot of the players were having trouble cramping up in the Marathon game 2 nights ago. Perhaps there is some kind of residual effect. Perhaps the cramps are back and they have to go in and stretch them out. But clearly, we don't know what's the matter with Jaromir Jagr. Primo's back. Jagr's not.
Not much question about the Dan McGillis cross-check here.
Oh, dangerous, too, on Morozov.
Well, here's a big chance for all that's happened here in this first period. If they get a power play goal here, this is a whole different game. And with 2:27 left to go in the first period, it would be the ideal time for Pittsburgh to get that momentum shifted. 17:33, the penalty.
You know the Flyers penalty killers here are not going to show this power play for Pittsburgh any respect because Jaromir Jagr is not out there. Watch for the Flyers to chase very aggressively no matter who has the puck. Not nearly as scary to be on the kill when you don't have to face number 68.
2 for 22 in this series on the power play. 8 for 51 in the playoffs when Pittsburgh's had the advantage. Lang will set up in front. On the half boards is Martin Straka, who can shoot. Down low, shot, Brown! It's loose! Good save, Boucher. Malkin drops it off. Straka, that was close. Lang's on the high slot. Straka goes on top, Umbrella again. Malkin does not shoot. Trying to get it cross ice. Straka leaves it. Brown trying to run it through the middle. Had it blocked by Terry. And off the near side boards. It is cleared out.
Great job by Marty Straka. He is the guy on the half boards that is quarterbacking now with Jagr gone. And Rob Brown is still, doesn't matter how fast he skates, because he doesn't skate very fast. He's one of the best men down low on the power play in the game from the goal line to the net. And it was Rob Brown that stepped out for the scoring chance.
2 power play goals by Jagr, obviously. Lang's got a couple this year in the playoffs. They're the 2 leaders. And they do not have Jaromir Jagr, who has been missing here since about the 5-minute mark of this period. 5 minutes left. Malkin dropped it off. Intercepted Delmore. He clears it out. Kovalev will come back to get it. Power play down to 50 seconds. Kovalev goes through the lineup. Brought back in. Morozov looking out in front. Lang still there. Philadelphia dropping back. Trying to cover Laukkanen. Shot saved. Great job by Desjardins to tie up Lang. Near side. Straka one-timer save. Brown dropped it back. Back it comes to Straka. Jagr who? Straka leaves it to Brown. Brown looking. Down to 28 on the power play. Brown chance. Blocked along the near side as Richardson got it. 1 minute to go in the period. Less than that on the power play. Brown save. Rebound shot. Lang. Knocked away Desjardins. After Boucher made the save. Morozov bouncing puck. Couldn't get it. Kovalev does. That deflects off bodies behind the net. Desjardins clears it up. And up.
Wow. Jaromir Jagr might have trouble cracking the power play lineup when he comes back. Awesome. You know what they've done, though? Moving the puck very quickly, letting the puck do the work. Instead of relying on one guy, they became a unit out there. Great puck movement by the Penguins.
Great penalty kill. It's over 0 for 1 in the advantage. Right back in along the near side. Baranek, he got level. Still not out of the zone. Corbet dropped it. Baranek shot deflected. Back to Baranek. Tried to run it in. Langkow knocked it down. 5 to go in the period. And the Flyer fans are up. Langkow at 23 seconds. Delmore at 3:27. And Desjardins, a great job on the penalty kill.
And Brian Boucher finally got in the game, too, at the end of that period.
Let's check in with Brian. Brian.
Gary, I was downstairs by the Pittsburgh locker room trying to find out about Jaromir Jagr. It just appears that he is in there being examined by the doctors. He had all his stuff off. We have not had any official word yet. I don't know when he's going to be back. That's as much as I know right now, Gary.
All right, obviously a big story. 2-0 Flyers on top. Dodge Intermission Report coming up after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Still on one, Forsberg looking. Forsberg dropped it for the game winner.
Forsberg to Drury was Colorado's classic combination.
Watch this pass by Peter Forsberg. What a play!
Colorado has a 3-1 lead in the series.
This is the Dodge Intermission Report. Here now, John Saunders and John Davidson.
Well, after 3 goals in 8 periods of play, 2-1 is really a story. But the biggest story will be if Jagr does not return.
Only played 4 minutes, 28 seconds during that first period. And it was interesting watching Jagr. Every shift at even strength, he had Keith Jones opposite him. And then if you think of the Flyers' left side of their defense, 31 seasons of experience, including this year. And that means they have Terrien or Richardson or Adam Berto's left side. So Jagr moves down the ice. He has to get through Keith Jones. He has to get through 3 very experienced defensemen. And I don't know if he's going to be able to make it back. We certainly hope he does.
All right, we, of course, will keep you up to date on that. The other thing the Flyers have been able to do is stand up, which brings us to JD's ABCs of hockey as we take a look at questions that people have been able to ask you on the internet at NHL.com or ABCSports.com. We talked about them standing up. What's the difference between North American and European styles?
I think for Suzanne, maybe more than anything else, is that with the European style of play, it's puck possession. They don't like to just throw the puck away into the offensive zone, where we from North America, Philadelphia Flyers would be a perfect example. Get the puck over center ice, throw it in and go get it, create turnovers, bang, crash, find a way to get the puck to the net. But I really think overall, over the last 10 or 15 years, we in North America have learned a lot about skill from the European players, and the European players who are now over here have learned a lot about determination and how to battle in games and how to become gritty players, especially in the long run during the playoffs, which we're starting to see from people like Peter Forsberg.
Yeah, absolutely. And the two styles together have been terrific over the last several years. Absolutely. As we go to another question in this one, the New Jersey Devils, as they came into the playoffs, they were limping. They had won 9 of 25 games, but now that balanced scoring is helping them.
Well, they have a lot more speed in their lineup from seasons past. They have a lot of good young players. When you think of people like Elias, look at this. Look at the speed driving to the net. You think of Rafalski, who plays on the defense pair with Scott Stevens. You have a great deal of speed throughout that lineup. Bobby Holik's not scoring for them, but he's winning faceoffs. He's shutting down Matt Sundin, and he doesn't need to score. In seasons past, Bobby Holik for the Devils had to score. The Devils are getting scoring from rookies. They're getting scoring from 2 and 3 other lines aside from just Bobby Holik's line if he does score. I really think they have a lot more balance. They're a much better team because of it. Everybody says trap. This team's a lot more than just a trap.
Yeah, Gomez was a lot of fun to watch last night against the Maple Leafs with a couple of assists in that one. Stick around. Back with more in a moment. We have a 2-0 game, but the question is, Jaromir Jagr, the best player in the world, takes a little hit from Tocchet and later did not return. Welcome back to the Dodge Intermission Report. Pittsburgh trailing Philadelphia 2-0. John Saunders and John Davidson here as we watch that video going away of Jagr after the hit by Tocchet moving like this.
That was on a 4-on-4. That was Jagr's last shift. And as Jagr went to the bench, he went like this. And you and I both know, and you've had plenty of operations, the shoulder is what maybe the body language that Jaromir Jagr was talking about right there.
And it's one of the toughest injuries for hockey, always leaning and getting lifting and such as well. Let's talk about the game tonight. Dallas trying to close out the San Jose Sharks. They lead the series 3-1. Steve Shields has to be the answer again.
I think so. When you look at Game 7, when Shields was able to beat St. Louis, he was one of the better players during that game, especially the second half. Now, in Game 3 of this series, in which San Jose was able to win, he was terrific. In fact, he's been real strong throughout most of the series, but to me, he has to be a key. When you face people like Mike Modano or Joe Nieuwendyk, these are people that get great scoring chances, and Shields simply has to be there. You get on the road, you need your best players to be good, and that includes Owen Nolan, too. He has scored some magnificent goals, and again, let's go back to that Game 7 with St. Louis. For the Sharks, Owen Nolan was their best player. He just seemed to lead them, and Shields, he too was very, very good.
Yeah, of course. You can't count the Sharks out because they have surprised throughout this playoff, but they'll be trying to close it out for Dallas tonight. We are 2-0, the Flyers on top of the Penguins.
When I came here, my first years I won it, and I thought it's going to be easy, but after a while I realized it's not going to be easy at all. We had a tough time even make a playoff, make it to the second round. That's why I would appreciate it a lot more if I would ever win again. The best thing would be to do it in Pittsburgh. If we had a chance and we would have finished the last game and raised the Stanley Cup over my head.
Welcome back to Philadelphia. Well, the news on Jaromir Jagr is that he might have a shoulder injury, he might be a thigh injury. We never quite know. He's had problems with both of those at the end of the regular season. But folks, stay tuned. We've seen superstars come back and have a huge impact in the game. I'll tell you that there's nothing more dangerous than an injured superstar. We'll see what happens with Jaromir Jagr. Mario Lemieux, the owner of the Pittsburgh Penguins, looks on. I wonder if he'll be back.
This has been the Dodge Intermission Report, brought to you by Dodge, the official vehicles of the NHL. Dodge, different. The Stanley Cup playoffs on ABC will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. The Stanley Cup playoffs on ABC, brought to you by Budweiser, made with the freshest all-natural ingredients for brewery fresh taste. Nortel Networks, we're building the new high-performance internet. And Wendy's Classic Hamburgers, it's hamburger bliss.
Welcome back, everybody. And there is Jaromir Jagr, who played just 4 minutes and 28 seconds of the first period. Medical examination. At the end of that period, Steve Lattin, the equipment manager, high-fiving him as he comes back out.
They haven't won anything yet, but the moral victory has been accomplished, getting him back onto the bench.
Now we'll see how much he plays.
Yeah.
Nowhere near the time he would normally play. No shots, 6 shifts, thigh injury that kept him out a number of games, 19 regular season games missed. So we'll see how much Jaromir Jagr can play. Lang dropped it off, shot Kovalev blocked. McGillis cleared it out to Recchi. Hitter! Kasparaitis fell down! In the middle, McGillis scores! Unbelievable! Darius Kasparaitis cannot get it right! 3-0 Flyers!
Took the Flyers 23 seconds to score in the first period. It has only taken them 16 seconds to score here in the second. And now Darius Kasparaitis is really coming unglued. You know that Kasparaitis had to be thinking for the last couple of days about being on the ice and having Primo beat him one-on-one for the goal in super overtime. And there he was on the right of the screen, falling down, trying to come back. Kasparaitis coughed it up on a turnover. 23 seconds into the first period, the Flyers scored. And because Darius Kasparaitis fell, the Flyers were able to generate an odd man rush, and Dan McGillis just powered that baby right through Ron Tugnutt.
Another back-breaking goal because Pittsburgh had gotten back into the flow in that power play at the end of the first period. And now they give up another. A 3-0 lead in a series that is tied at 2-2. Tocchet trying to back it in. It ended up going behind the net. Jagr's back out. Jagr dumped it off near side block. Bugner trying to clear it out of there. Once, Laukkanen rather twice, and finally did. Straka up ice at the other end. With Jagr having to go out, Marty Straka ended up leading them in ice time at 9:09 of that first period. The goal 16 seconds into the second. McGillis first of the series, second of the playoffs, and Recchi got the assist. Mark Recchi now has 3 assists in this game, 1 on each of the 3 goals. Mandeville racing into the corner for it, batted it away as he knocked it off Hans Jansson's stick. Down they go. Barnaby came charging up the boards. Corbet trying to move it out, couldn't get it by Hull. Hull dropped it back. Hans Jansson. Corbet poked away to center by Baranek. Return to him. Baranek, a little hook from behind, costing control. Delmore, 3-on-2. Delmore to the middle. Shot for Ruby. Deflected wide side. Down on the ice. Corbet went to block it. Came away. Baranek taking a 3-on-2 chance. Back checking and cleared out. Philadelphia can't make anything wrong here.
Andy Delmore, his speed, Gary, we were talking about it during the intermission. Delmore can move up on the play and join the rush, and because of his just explosive speed, get back like he did there and break up a play.
It's amazing. Speed in all sports compensates for a lot of mistakes.
Boy, doesn't it?
And that's what happened right there. In front. Trying to move it out. Adam Burt knocked it away. Corbet was trying to get it in front. Could not get it to Joseph Baranek, who was there. Kasparaitis right back out on the ice. Elapukin sends it in wide side. Philadelphia leading at 3-0. Back to the point. White held it in. Partially blocked on the pass. Tyler Wright behind the net. Tyler Wright. You saw Kasparaitis handle that puck very delicately as he dumped it off to Wright. Cannot help but feel you a snake bitten in this game with the things that have happened to him already. Dropped back by Zalapukin. Cleared out into the middle. This game will go back to Pittsburgh on Tuesday. Question is who will have the 1-0 lead. Kasparaitis again had it blocked. Zalapukin blocked it. He got it away to Ian Moran. Moran shot wide. Rebound comes up the near side boards. Brown moved over. McGillis stepped in front of him. McGillis dropped it off. And Ian Moran tried to run him over. Got run over instead. Brought back up through the middle near side. Mark Gregg save. Rebound deflected over the net.
That is why Craig Ramsey wanted his guys to shoot, because he knows that Ron Tugnutt will sooner or later leave a rebound. Almost capitalized on another one there.
Flyers start out here the same way they did in the first.
We'll go back and take a look at the Darius Kasparaitis situation. He was out there with Peter Popovich. Popovich is over on the right, but watch what happened here. You know your day has gone south when this happens. If we can stop it here, they actually got tangled up. Just a hair. They caught skates. Kasparaitis was trying to go backwards, and Peter Popovich, for some reason, turned right into him and tripped him. That is when their skates just came apart. But when you're just getting ready to start skating backwards, it takes very little. All you need to do is nick somebody else's skate, and you're going down.
Wow. Penalty picked up here. High sticking. Tyler Wright, 3:09. So the Flyers, who've already scored on their only other power play, will get a chance on it here.
I would suggest for Darius Kasparaitis that he not even think about playing the lottery. He doesn't have a chance the way his luck has gone the last couple of weeks. Gosh, you got a feel for me. Great competitor, but boy, everything's going north and he's going south.
Yeah, they just cannot. That happens in sports. Lankow's got a goal, trying to run it in front. Urdina was there and cleared it out. Desjardins with Straka giving chase. Desjardins got it up. McGillis will tip it away. Lankow staying back here. McGillis will take it back in behind the net, though, and start it there. Changing up Pittsburgh on their penalty killing unit. Yager not out there on this penalty killing unit. Centering pass. Look at Rocky. Rocky scores! Rocky, nobody had him!
Have officially fallen off for the Pittsburgh Penguins, because we haven't even played 24 minutes of hockey yet. John LeClair from the boards, nobody at all on Mark Recchi in front. And it looked like it surprised Ron Tugnutt. He wasn't set for a poke check or anything. I mean, I think he thought he had coverage in front, but John LeClair spotted Mark Recchi wide open. When somebody is that wide open in a playoff game, you know that the brain is seizing up. That is not a physical mistake. It is a mental mistake, and that is why Mark Recchi was wide open. So it is melting down, and Jaromir Jagr, I was just about to wonder how much Jaromir Jagr would play.
That's Jagr leaving the ice. Jaromir Jagr is heading to the dressing room again with a 4-0 Flyer lead. Pittsburgh got to gun everything now. Coming up Boucher on the attempt by Moroza. another damaging nail in the coffin of this game. He was third in scoring, first in assists regular season, and the Pens are finding out why, as he's had a goal and 3 assists, and Herb Brooks' club down 4-0.
Gary, I'll go back to what I said in the open. The challenge for the Penguins was a mental challenge. They were the ones that lost the marathon game. Flyers felt great. You don't hurt nearly as much when you're the guys that win one of those. Mario Lemieux is looking down, and he realizes that his team is mentally nowhere close. They weren't even close when the game started.
No. They got jumped on early in the first period, and again here. 23 seconds and 3:27 of the first, 16 seconds and 3:47 of the second. It's a redo. Recchi's goal from Leclerc and Desjardins. 2 power play goals, 2 for 2, and an offside whistle there. Or glove hand pass called. So Recchi's got his first of this series, second of the playoffs. Ray Scampanello with the call. And Mark Recchi, who had a magnificent year for Philadelphia. Their MVP with Eric Lindros being out most of it. Recchi just took over offensively and defensively.
The man whose legs never stop moving, his feet move constantly. And now Brian Boucher in goal for the Flyers. I mean, if the challenge was focus and concentration in the 5th overtime period, got the same challenge here, except he's only played 25 minutes of hockey. He's got a 4-0 lead.
Different reason,
same challenge.
Played 35 games during the regular season. He and John Van Beesbrook exchanged time in net. Then Boucher finished up 8 of the last 11 regular season games and became the #1 netminder. Jones, backhander, right through the crease on Tugnutt. Tugnutt backed up by Peter Skudro's not played in the playoffs. If you're wondering about Herb Brooks, do you take Tugnutt out if they get another goal and things look even worse here midway through this game so that you've got Tugnutt ready for the next one in Pittsburgh, or do you just leave him in there? That's a Herb Brooks decision. Hannaford came back to get it. Got hit hard. He's all right. He had his chin go up against the dasher. Back comes Hull. Hull will dump that one in on the bounce. Tugnutt knocked it down. Gets the cheer from the Flyer fans. Held on to by Vanderbilt. Backed it in. Tugnutt a save. Rebound came right out to the top of the crease. Delmore back in his own end. High off the glass and out to center. Yuri Schleger will play it. So we have seen Jaromir Jagr go to the dressing room again. 5 minutes into this period. Shot. Boucher came out. Baranek. Hear the boo cheer which goes up for Boucher. Sent in by Hull. Tugnutt will knock it down. Cleared around the near side dasher. Pens moved it up and not out. Held it again. Hull. His shot saved by Tugnutt. That came all the way through. Could be a long day for whoever's in net for Pittsburgh from here on out. With a 4-0 lead, the Pens are 1 foot on the bus.
And especially because the Flyers now, and they don't have to worry, Craig Ramsey, their coach, does not have to worry about them not shooting from long distances on Tugnutt. They're going to fire, they're going to drive for rebounds. There is no more mystique to Tugnutt's game.
White chance, save made by Tugnutt for the Flyers. Let's have some fun time. 20-13, the shots in favor of Philadelphia. They've got the 4-0 lead. No team has had more than 4 goals in this series. Philadelphia Flyers and Pittsburgh had 2 consecutive overtimes coming into this one. And the Flyers had a 4-3 win in the single overtime game prior to that 5-overtimer that they played a couple of nights ago. Centering pass intended for Brown, got deflected away and out of the zone by Hans Janssen. They'll be chased down and touched up by Terrier. Great to have you with us on ABC. The chase for the Stanley Cup. Flyers 4-0. Pittsburgh has not lost. The Pens have not lost 3 consecutive games since back in February. They are in danger, though, of losing 3 consecutive here. That puck hit with a high stick and knocked down. With 13-17 left to go here in the second period. A reminder, coming up tonight, ESPN2 at 7:30. Will it be a closeout game? The San Jose Sharks must win. The Dallas Stars can put it away. The defending champions looking to move on. Colorado's waiting. The Sharks looking to be the spoilers. Tonight, ESPN2, 7:30 Eastern. Face-off out at center. One back by Wright on net, though. Tugnutt had to play it away. Bear in mind, neither of these teams has been able in this series to pick up a win at home. The Flyers have the 4-0 lead here, shutting down the most offensive road team in the playoffs this year, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Kasparaitis would like to get about 5 goals right now. Instead, he's probably going to get a penalty.
He's going to call Mark Recchi for a dive here, too. And I think this is the right call. Mark Recchi is one of the best. Is he going to get them both? Yeah. Darius Kasparaitis will go for Pittsburgh, and I believe Mark Recchi is going to go on an unsportsmanlike for the dive.
Recchi arguing vociferously is in the box, and Leclerc's arguing for him.
All right, folks, we'll let you take a look at it and make up your own minds. Here's Darius Kasparaitis with the hook. Mark Recchi gets airborne. That's one of Mark Recchi's characteristics. When he wants to draw a penalty, he gets airborne like that. I know he doesn't like the call. I'm not saying the Kasparaitis penalty was not a penalty, but they've really cracked down. The refs before the playoffs began were reminded by the head office that diving was in fact in the rule book.
And not on the ice.
Right. I think that's
what did we get from our Canadian judge on that, please? A 6.8 from our Canadian judge.
6.8. 6.8 from the U.S. judge, Kurt Brooks. He gave it about a 9.2. He really liked it.
Ramsey gave it a 0.2. Recchi goes on sportsmanlike conduct. That's the call for diving. So we end up with our second 4-on-4 of the game. And a 4-0 lead for the Flyers, outshooting Pittsburgh 21-13. That is not uncommon. The Pens have been outshot for the last 18 games going back to the regular season, but that was not affecting the outcome of games for us. It is in this one. 4-on-4. Near side Laukkanen. Cleared it off the wall. Martin Straka is going to have to continue to pick up ice time that generally would go to Jaromir Jagr. Straka will be their leading offensive player out there. Laukkanen trying to clear, didn't get it out. Save made on Primo's chance. Tugnutt knocked it away. Therrien comes back in his own end for it. Therrien, Desjardins, Primo in the 4-on-4. Now they change up and bring Rick Tocchet out. Deeper into the zone, Hans Jonsson. Laukkanen. And Laukkanen got hit as he tried to get away with that puck, and Tocchet wouldn't let him move. Langkow will take it back into the zone. So Philadelphia, a repeat of the first period. Get a couple of quick goals and then play some hang-on hockey and let that clock run. Langkow with Tocchet cutting. His shot blocked out deep by Jonsson and cleared out. Langkow, Delmore, McGillis, and Recchi the goal. We'll have a chance. Blocker save. Lang the chance and covered up. Lots of stories going on here. Let's check in on one of them right now with Brian England. Brian.
Gary, wanted to give you an Eric Lindros update. On Thursday morning, he was playing a little bit of a pickup game. He had a collision, got 20 stitches over his lip. I'm here with ESPN's Al Morganti. Al, what's the update on Eric?
Well, it appears to be more than the stitches over the lip. Flyers have now been told by Dr. Kelly, the concussion specialist, that Lindros suffered another grade 2 concussion. He's going to be gone at least 2 more weeks before he can resume contact. Certainly looks like longer and longer odds that he ever returns to this season and probably to the Flyers. So his history with the Flyers may be over. It's a 5th concussion in his career, 3rd this season, another grade 2 concussion, Brian.
Thanks very much, Al. Garrett, back to you.
Well, they're continuing that saga, that sideshow here, but Bob Clarke, the GM of Philadelphia, has been intimately involved in, continues.
But Bob Clarke has seen his team under the coaching prowess of Craig Ramsey, who subbed for Roger Nielsen when Roger started his cancer treatments. There is Roger sitting upstairs feeding stuff down to the bench. Bob Clarke has been able to sit up there and see his team continue to plow forward in the playoffs. They were on the brink. Many people in this city wrote the Flyers off after they went down 2-0 to the Penguins right here in Philadelphia. All the Flyers did is went to Pittsburgh, won both there, and they got a 4-0 lead here.
They are on the verge of putting a real hole in Pittsburgh's chances. Brought back in by Kovalev again. Backhander hit the side of the net. We're charging into the boards. Kovalev back up is all right. Tipped away to center. Could be a 2-on-1. Mandeville coming. Mandeville listed that one wide. Mandeville and McGillis that time. There's a couple of guys who don't generally get into odd man rushes, but did. Up the near side, both teams changing. Brought back in by Therrien. Slager got a piece of him. Shot by Hull, deflects off the glass. The off-shooting side as he was at the end of his shift. 11:03 left to go in the period. Baranek will move it up. 3 assists for Baranek in the playoffs. That one wide on Boucher. And we'll just keep reminding Boucher continues to run the numbers up on the shutout totals as he ended that 5 overtime game with 149 minutes plus without a goal, and he's not given one up here. 10:45 remaining in this second period. Our Bud Light Stanley Cup summary from Philadelphia. The Avalanche, first team to advance, beating Detroit. Game 5 winners of a tied best of 7. 124-30 if you can get there. And the road team has won each of the 4 games so far in this series.
you know, the playoffs are a time, really a fertile time for incredible sports stories to be created. John Van Beesbrook was going to be the starting goalie for the Flyers in the playoffs, at least at Christmas time, halfway through the season. Brian Boucher started to play better and better as the season went along. John Van Beesbrook's play fell off little by little. Now, Brian Boucher has kind of written the first few pages of the little storybook he's got going here. This is a rookie goaltender that had no chance at the beginning of the season of being the Flyers goaltender when the playoffs began. All he did was beat Dominic Hodgson in the first round.
That's all. Only 23 years old. His goals against, number 2 among playoff goaltenders, and save percentage 5th coming in. And he certainly has not done anything to hurt that in this game. 15 shots, 15 saves. That one out as it jumped over Tyler Wright's stick. Played back deep. Bugner drops it off. Pittsburgh without Jaromir Jagr, who was in the dressing room. Played 1 shift here in the second period. Played under 5 minutes in the first period. We'll get an update on that momentarily. Far side, Adam Burt. Burt's done an outstanding job for this team. Better in the defenseman's defenseman. Kicked away. Brown reaching in for it. Burt won't let him have it. One arm, that one up. Tocchet, Laukkanen, and collided. Puck along the near side. Brown trying to run it out of there and got a little help and did. Ian Moran off the far side boards. Both teams changing. Boucher will knock away the long shot. And Burt into it on the far side with Tyler Wright. They separate without a call. Puck went all the way around the far side. Zelepukin had it. Kovalev. His pass comes near side. Morozov. Alexei Morozov without a point so far in the playoffs. Sent deep. Kovalev. Kovalev, their leading offensive man, who they have to look to when you do not have Jaromir Jagr out on the ice. Straka centered. Lang shot. Missed it. Lang centered it. Knocked away. Boucher reaching to cover. Can't find it. Still loose. Kovalev dug it out. Kovalev got it to Morozov. Morozov. Lang set up in the slot. Kovalev behind them. Kovalev on the backhand chance. Got a big screen. His shot deflected off the top of the net. He got it up and over. Boucher held that short side. Shot Kasparaitis. That one deflected wide. And Zelepukin's got it. Zelepukin moves it out. Pens need a line change right here. Oops. Kasparaitis got the knee in. No call on it. That was close as Zelepukin was going by. Morozov along the near side. Tied up. Greg tipped in. Knocked it away. Popovich has got it. And Pittsburgh will regroup in their own end, giving Philadelphia a chance to change up here as the forecheck continues. At center, Desjardins. Knocked through the middle. Kovalev will come over. 8:19 to go here in the period. Kovalev on the circle. A 4-0 lead. The Flyers up. Adding to it here with a couple quick goals in the second period. Martin Straka. That did not come outside the line. Slugger held it in. And it's on and out. It went behind. Boucher did it cross the line. The light never came on. They'll be reviewing that one. They are.
That looked like it crossed the line.
A bouncing puck. The review will go on right now as play continues. Hans Janssen, the officials, if there indeed that was a goal, the reviewing judge will call down. And if he scores here, we'll have an interesting situation. Lankow, and it was dropped off. Might want to hold on to that. Save made again. Leclair held on to on the far side. Adam Burke. And a whistle behind the play. A penalty coming up on John Leclair. And now, if the reviewing judge wants to call down, they'll do it right here.
It may have hit the post, but John Leclair got warned there by Don Van Massenhoven. He didn't want to get an unsportsmanlike call as an obstruction trip on John Leclair. But there's the review booth. There's Brian Lewis on the left, the director of officials, supervisor of officials looking on, and that's what he saw, was the puck bouncing off the one post and going right behind Brian Boucher. Good call, guys. It never did cross the line.
A tripping call on Leclair at 12:29 will give the Pens their second power play of the game. Lankow, Delmore, McGillis, and Recchi have picked up the goals in this game, and Mark Recchi has a 4-point game going with a goal and 3 assists. So the Pens trying to battle back one at a time here. They came close in their first power play. See what they can do with it here. They're without Jaromir Jagr, who has left the game. He's played under 5 minutes in this game and only 1 shift here in the second period. Laukkanen had it bounce off his body. 2-1 shorthanded, not quite. Kovalev quietly played that back, but he not touched that puck up. Philadelphia was going up shorthanded. Brought in by Straka. Centering. Brown bounced over his stick. Brown had gotten behind the D. Back up and out of the zone. Cleared out by Zelapukhin. Has to be chased down by Kovalev. Kovalev from behind the net. 24-17. Flyers with the advantage in shots as well as the score. Kovalev the move on White. Shut it down. Looked into the middle. Brown over. And Richardson trying to clear it out into the seats. John Saunders, John Davidson standing by. Let's check in with them right now, guys.
Well, Gary and Bill are answering questions from NHL.com and ABCSports.com, and this one from Roy.
Yes, regardless of who advances in the East, will they have a chance against the West? I think so. John, when you watch these two series, you see that New Jersey's wearing down Toronto. You see Philadelphia is wearing down Pittsburgh, so why not? If one of them gets out of the East, I think they can wear down one of the teams from the West. Maybe. Just maybe.
With a little
the West
luck.
is pretty good.
Gary and Bill.
Nice answers. How to work on that one. 6:32 to go here. Pittsburgh finished 7th in the playoff seedings. Philadelphia, of course, the #1 team in the East. They were 3rd overall. They got surprised by Pittsburgh in the first 2 games here in Philadelphia, and then went to Pittsburgh, and Philadelphia won them there. They even this series at 2-2. And they've got the Flyers do a 4-0 lead in this. Power play, 55 seconds left on it for Pittsburgh. Slager, Herdina in the slot. And now Slager drops back on the half boards. Looking on the rink-wide chance. Hans Jansson's in the middle. There he is. Takes the chance, deflected. Didn't get it through. Broken stick out there. Adam McGillis who blocked it. Now he's got to play without a stick. Morozov sends it back out. Pitts need to hold this in, take advantage of it. Down low, McGillis picked up a stick forward. Rebound shot. Boucher knocked one away. Defenseman blocked the second. Cleared out.
That would have been an adventure for Dan McGillis to shoot the puck out because he had Jody Hull's stick. Problem, curved the wrong way.
See what a backhander you really got.
Yeah.
Gorbet on the far side. Herdina's heading to the bench, so there was nobody on the near side wall. And that will do it on the power play. So Pittsburgh 0 for 2 on the power play here tonight, and 2 for 24 in this series. And it remains a 4-0 lead for the Flyers. Back to 5-on-5. Blocked by Leclerc. Just came out of the box. Sends it the length of the ice. Kasparaitis will touch it up on the ice.
Well, it didn't take long for the party to start here in Philadelphia. 23 seconds into the first period, Flyers scored. Here in the second period, they picked up where they left off. When one team smiles, the other team frowns.
Welcome back. In Game 4, we assumed that it was some type of cramping of Jaromir Jagr when he was attended to on the bench. I'm told that that wasn't the case. Jaromir Jagr is still struggling with that leg. He is out of his uniform, although he has not quite changed, fellas, from his long underwear to his dress clothes. He spent several minutes in the one room where they changed their clothes, and now he's gone back to the locker room. So still no official word yet from the Penguins.
All right, Darren, and a save back, and Tyler Wright scores! Tyler Wright puts the Pens on the board with 4:54 to go in the second period.
And we can only speculate, at least I will, that one of the reasons Jaromir Jagr is not in his civvies yet, because of the score.
I agree, Bill.
You know, if the Penguins can make this a hockey game, maybe Herb Brooks says, okay, Jags, get on the gear and get back out here. But pretty good pursuit here and good pressure by the Penguins. Rene Corbet made it happen. He just shot it into Brian Boucher's feet. There's a bit of a jam in front. Got some help coming in and just poked it out in front to Tyler Wright. But Corbet made this happen. The Flyers let up a little bit. And Matt Barnaby is the guy that was second to the puck at Boucher's feet. And the Penguins are on the board. So maybe Jaromir Jagr will delay a little longer in getting the civvies on, depending on the complexion of this game. I mean, Flyers had scored, made it 5-0, and the game is lost and the game is gone. Might not be any point in shooting Jaromir Jagr back up, but stay tuned just in case.
15:06, Tyler Wright's first of this series, third of the playoffs. Barnaby and Corbet in the even strength goal. And that will end the scoreless streak. And all those saves that have been made by Brian Boucher. And a 4-1 lead now for the Flyers. And Pittsburgh hoping right now for another Philadelphia penalty. Give him another chance on a power play. Target shot was wide. Ian Moran gunned that one out. Kovalev on the pickup. Kovalev a blast. Save Boucher. Wow. Ian Moran took the stick to the face. Terrian had reached up with his stick to knock the puck down. Ian Moran jumped up to knock it down, and the stick and face came together.
Gosh, the puck might have even fallen on his face, too.
Yep.
But Moran, talk about vertical leap. Moran went up like he was going for a basketball rebound. And Therrien at 6'6" to begin with had his stick up swinging at it. Looks like Moran's all right. Kovalev's shot was handled by Boucher, but he popped it up into the air. Oh, yeah, Therrien's stick did come right down. I think Moran actually got the puck, too, on this one. Look at the vertical leap by him, but when Therrien was swinging at the puck, unfortunately for Moran, his vertical leap got his nose in the way.
See, now, Bill, I think that should be a high sticking call. That is not a proper use of the stick. Even if the puck's up in the air and the guy's jumping, you've got to keep the stick down. And when you hit somebody in the face like that, I think that falls under the rule of careless use of stick.
Sure could. It sure could, but it's never called if a player is going for the puck. But you make a very good argument for that to be in
So
there.
that's why they keep doing it. You're not going to make...
Rarely does anybody have that kind of leap like Moran and get his face in there, especially with Therrien being 6'6".
He almost outjumped the stick. There is no call, by the way, so it remains a 5-on-5. At center, Pittsburgh's got it. They've got 3:56 in this period to try and pick up at least one more, which would really make this a game. The way this series has gone, who knows? Richardson going back to get it. Turned it around the far side, but not hard enough to get it out. Martin Straka center. It was deflected by Hull. Had Hrdina cutting on the offside wing. Hull from the red line will just dump that in. Chased down by Hans Janssen. Janssen took the hit from the Ruby, but controlled the puck and not cleared out of the zone. Backed in by Richardson again. Hull down low. Yuri Slager takes him out of the play. Hrdina finds a little room up the middle. Hrdina coming. Philadelphia changing. Centering pass. That was blocked. Good play that time by Manderville, who came back on that. Flyers were changing D behind it. Adam Burt cleared it up. Manderville in front of him will just poke it in. Yuri Slager had to go by. Popovich came back to get it. Tyler Wright, who's got the goal, swung around at the blue line. Still had the puck there, lost it. Recchi tied him up, and it'll be sent in by Corbet. Boucher behind the net. Centering pass, Lankow in the back check. Lankow around the near side. Brian Boucher went 184 minutes, 32 seconds without giving up a goal. Going back through that last overtime and made 75 straight saves for Boucher. Dodge intermission report upcoming. 2:43 of playing time left here. Recchi's wild ride, and he's continued that tonight in the Leafs on the brink of being spectators.
Well, Gary, you mentioned with Jágr being out of this game that a lot of the offensive responsibility may fall on the shoulders of Alexei Kovalev. But to me, he's Pittsburgh's X factor, and he's an X factor because he's their box of chocolates. You're never quite sure what you're going to get from him. Game 3 was not there. Game 4 scored the only goal, hit the post in overtime. Herb Brooks has to keep putting him out there on the chance that he's going to have his A game on a specific day. But you never really know with Alexei Kovalev.
He had 21 points, 23 games in the 94 playoffs, so when he comes to play, he's one of the most talented players in the National Hockey League. Because he's had 22 goals, 35 assists, and 63 playoff games coming into this one. And they need him right now to have a big third period. Tyler Wright reaching in for it. Corbet as well. Wright dug it out. Wright, centering pass. Boucher just played that one off the stick. Kasparaitis stepped up and made costly. Oh my gosh. Here comes Leclerc in a 3-on-1. Recchi, centered, shot, score! Unbelievable! Kasparaitis got caught again! And Matthew Barnaby is livid. Another Penguin has just shot the puck at the net on Boucher. That was Corbet who did that. Barnaby went after the ref.
And Yuri Slager was sent out. There is Slager sent out by Herb Brooks to get Barnaby away. I don't know if Barnaby intentionally ran into Mark Fawcett, but Fawcett was dabbing at his eye. I think Barnaby's helmet collided with him. And I don't know why he is upset. The Flyers had a compelling 3-on-1 that was created again because of Andy Delmore's explosive speed. And John Leclerc threaded the needle to Andy Delmore, and the Flyers have a 5-1 lead. But Matt Barnaby, we mentioned in the warm-up, he came out, revved up in the warm-up. He was yapping at the Flyers. He engaged a couple of them in conversation and yelling matches, and then finally, when only John Van Beesbrook and Barnaby were left on the ice, Barnaby was taunting him and pointing at the bench, saying, hey, sit down here, Beezer. Here's where you're supposed to sit at the end of the bench because you're only backing up. Oh, yeah.
He has been thrown out of the game.
Here is the play the Flyers scored on. John LeClair, he realized he had a 3-on-1 only when he looked up, because Andy Delmore came back with the Rockets just blazing. Here's Matt Barnaby. Deep in the corner, he was punching away at Adam Bird trying to get away, and Bird just held him there. Well, that kind of stuff goes on all the time. So here's Matt Barnaby coming back now. The Flyers score, and he made a beeline for anybody with an orange stripe for the arm. And look at that, he banged right into Mark Fawcett. Guess what, folks? That's how you get yourself out of game 6 right there.
And any other game in this playoff.
Maybe.
He went right at him. I mean, Barnaby came out in the pregame skate challenging Flyer players, talking to him, yakking. He and Van Beesbrook right along the red line were going at one another. He came out here trying to disturb and didn't disturb him. Look at Delmore. Second goal and a 5-1 Flyer lead. Matthew Barnaby was a virtual unknown when he went pro with Buffalo in '93, but in short order, he became a master agitator, head-to-head with any opposing player. Always fiery, Barnaby showed another side 2 springs ago. He notched his only playoff hat trick on Mother's Day. It came against Montreal. In March of '99, he was traded to Pittsburgh, where a little about him has changed except the uniform. He's an agitator, animated, and one of hockey's most genuine personalities. May become one of hockey's storied stories because he got a 10 and a game misconduct for going after the official. Ouch. That will be automatically sent to the front office of the NHL for a review regarding suspension.
And if Herb Brooks didn't plan on playing 3 lines, he sure does now with Yager and Barnaby gone.
Now, a shot at him. Right at him. That puck was shot at Bob Bugner, who had gotten tied up at center ice with Jones. And I did not see who the Flyer player was, but some Flyer player shot the Richardson shot right into his throat.
Remember, game 2 got ugly here when the Flyers lost control. The difference in this game is they are in control on the scoreboard. They were getting blown out. The final of game 2 was 4-0 or 4-1. And the Flyers lost their cool and started going at the Penguins. And they have vowed to keep their composure since then. I'm not sure that they have really anticipated a 5-1 lead and this kind of bizarre things going on down there.
Be interesting to see how they call this, because that was an intentional shooting of the puck at an opposing player who was tangled up in the middle.
Well, here's Bugner, and he is along the side with Keith Jones. Bugner was giving him the right, so Bugner's trying to get his guys going. Well, see, Keith Jones is trying to draw a penalty, and that is when Luke Richardson teed it up and just nailed Bugner. He hit him, didn't he?
Hit him right in the head. Right around the throat area.
Well, guess what? 2 refs might not be enough now.
They got Richardson on that for an unsportsmanlike conduct.
You have
for shooting the puck.
It's in the rule book. You're not allowed to do that.
That's a good rule.
You bet it is.
You saw Bugner leaving the ice. There's only 1:15 left to go here in the period. Bugner's going to get 2 for roughing, and Richardson will get 2 for unsportsmanlike. They'll both go to the dressing room here since the penalties come at 18:45.
I didn't realize they had the 2 on Bugner that Keith Jones was trying to draw. We'll focus on Keith Jones here for a second. His 55th career playoff game. He played almost 40 minutes a couple of nights ago in Pittsburgh. And check this out. He was a member of the Caps in '96 when they played in the 4th longest game ever. And it was against Pittsburgh. A key difference in that game to the one that was played in Pittsburgh. When he played in Wash, they lost.
So he's 1-1 in 3rd and 4th longest games ever played.
Right. He's evened his record.
Well, this has gotten ugly here at the end of the second period with 1:15 to go. Let's not lose Delmore, who picked up the goal, And Mark Recchi, 4 assists today, ties a club playoff record, and he's got a goal. So he's got a 5-point game, a goal and 4 assists for Mark Recchi, and a 5-1 lead. Now we're back to 4-on-4 with those matching minors, with 1:07 left to go here in the period. There have been a number of players who have had 4 assists, including Bobby Clark, Bob Daly, Ken Lensman, and Brian Propp. 2 of them are here. Bobby Clark's the GM, Brian Propp's an announcer for Philadelphia. They're both working here today, if you will. The most points, those are Philadelphia records, by the way. Reggie Leach, a 5-point game, and Bob Daly, a 5-point game. So Reggie's got a chance to set those marks. Tipped away by Tugduck, who's been watching all the goings-on. 32 seconds left to go in the period. Centering class block by Kovalev. Gary Slager puts the hit on, takes his man down. 4-on-4 setting here, so a lot of ice. Morozov tipped it up off the boards. Yager came out, played 1 shift here in this period, and has not come back. Gary Slager, this is a big moment right here. Shot, save, rebound, deflected. Morozov behind the net. A chance at the 10-second mark to get a second goal.
Just to get something to go into the locker room with.
Knocked down Morozov, and we've completed 2 periods of play. The officials looking with their heads on a swivel to make sure nothing else goes on here. As Philadelphia, Lankow, Delmore 2, McGillis, and Recchi. Right, the only goal for Pittsburgh. Our Dodge Intermission Report coming up. John Saunders, John Davidson, after this message and a word from our ABC station. Here in Philadelphia, the Flyers looking to take the lead in this series. They've got a 5-1 lead in the game. We'll be back. Start of the 3rd period. Coming up, Flyers 5, Pens 1.
This has been the Dodge Intermission Report, brought to you by Dodge, the official vehicles of the NHL. Dodge, different. The Stanley Cup playoffs on ABC will continue after this message and a word from our ABC station. The Stanley Cup playoffs on ABC, brought to you by Valvoline Max Light, the first motor oil specially formulated for higher mileage engines. Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NHL. And Dodge, the official vehicles of the NHL. Dodge, different.
Welcome back. It got a little nasty at the end of the 2nd period with the Philadelphia Flyers ready to go up 3-2 and have a 5-1 lead in this game. And the surrounding stories continue here. Gary Thorne, Bill Clement back with you. Let's start with the ace for Pittsburgh, who's not coming back.
Well, Jaromir Jagr, the Penguins are saying that it's a pulled muscle, and we assume that it's a thigh muscle. He had a severe Charlie horse at the end of the season. Actually had to be operated on to relieve pressure. There was so much internal bleeding, and apparently that is bothering him, so he will not return.
Matthew Barnaby, we understand, on the call on him, he got the 10-minute misconduct, and then separately, and on the game misconduct because he wouldn't shut up. So they were not simultaneous. Kind of unusual that the game misconduct was not because he hit the referee.
But then again, it's the playoffs, and things are never what they seem in the playoffs. I mean, we've had a player shoot a puck at another player, we've had a player bang into a referee, and now we've got a goaltender that hasn't played a whole heck of a lot in the playoffs ever in his life.
That's not very much. Peter Skudra comes in, so Ron Tugnutt will come out of there having given up the 5 goals on 26 Philadelphia Flyers shots. Luke Richardson goes back into the box over there. We got 45 seconds on the matching minors that were picked up by Bugner and Richardson. So those will be served. And we'll start with a 4-on-4 here in this 3rd period. Flyers lead at 5-1. Series tied at 2-2. Series goes back to Pittsburgh on Tuesday night. And it sure looks like Flyers will have a chance to wrap it up there. Popovich has got it, cleared up the near side boards, and knocked away by Manderville. Hull got it back, couldn't control it. Verdina dropped it, not quite. Almost for Martin Straka, who was cutting. Straka left it off the half boards, poke checked away. Again, Hull could not control, came back to Straka. Straka, Kasparaitis, one-timer, scores! Kasparaitis with a one-timer. Maybe can finally feel like the gods have turned to somebody else.
Like a decent human for a change. Poor Darius Kasparaitis, not only good for the Penguins here, but because of who scored it. Darius Kasparaitis really had his confidence shaken And you saw the game that he played earlier, if you've been with us since the opening puck drop. Darius Kasparaitis has been in defensive straight, bad situations, falling, having goals scored on him when he has been on the ice. But here he is with a pretty good slap shot. I don't know what happened on this one to Brian Boucher. It looked like nobody was bothering him. That's a puck that I think Brian Boucher will say after the game he should have stopped.
It's his first goal in 42 playoff games. That's why he picked the puck up and took it with him. Darius Kasparaitis gets his first career playoff goal. And it is now a 5-2 Philadelphia lead. Back it comes to Recchi. Recchi sends it in. Round the near side, Leclerc. Rene Corbet took him out of the play. Near side, Langkow, Leclerc, and Recchi on the line. Intercepted by Corbet. 40 seconds into the period. Kasparaitis from Straka and Hrdina. So Philadelphia scored 23 seconds into the first period, 16 seconds into the second period, and Pittsburgh scores 40 seconds into the third period. Goaltenders not having good starts to periods here. Cleared around by Brown. Scooter's in net, as we said, with Tugnutt out of there. Centering pass knocked away again to the sideboards where Lang will pick it up. Sir Hans Johnson knocked it down. Sprawling, Lang cleared out by Richardson. Dumped right back in behind the net. Held on to by Boucher. Far side, Tocchet. Tocchet had it knocked away to Lang. Lang trying to hold it in over there. Couldn't. Tocchet got it. Tocchet dishes off. Vanderbilt looking into the middle. Tocchet, who follows the play up. Backhand chance. Scudra gets warmed up right there as he hangs on. 2 minutes into period number 3. Let's check in with Darren Pang. Darren.
Gary here by the Pittsburgh Penguins bench. I talked to Herb Brooks as he was coming onto the ice. The Penguins are very, very upset with that Luke Richardson slap shot to Bob Boughner. You know, Boughner will not return in this hockey game. The coaching staff told me he's had a hard time breathing following that shot. Gary?
Well, I guess it was only a 2-minute minor.
You get hit with a slap shot up high like that anywhere near your neck, yeah, you're going to have trouble breathing. You should see the Pittsburgh bench. And there's so much room on it, and that is what is unusual, sitting here and looking at the bench. But here's what happened to Bob Boughner. He was teeing up Keith Jones. Meanwhile, there he got hit up high. While he was teeing up Jones, Richardson was teeing up the puck. I'm sure Richardson was yelling to Keith Jones, get out of the way. Get out of the way. I got one coming.
Richardson got 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike. Clearly, Pittsburgh is going to ask the league to review that incident, and they can issue more penalties or worse if they choose to do so, based on what they see on review of tapes. Any team could send in any tape to the league if they want to. It's become at times somewhat of a confusing situation with the number of tapes that's sent in.
I'm sure the Flyers' argument will be, listen, if there was somebody like John Leclerc that knew where the puck was going when he shot it, we'd probably say, you know, you've got a case, but it was Luke Richardson. Hey.
Yuri Slager brings it in. Slager, the wrister, wide. Backed off the side of the net, just trying to put one into the back of the goaltender, Martin Straka. And that boo chant goes up again for Boucher. The other end, Peter Scudra, 20 games during the regular season, 5-7-3. He had a 3-1-2 goals against and just an 8.72 save percentage for Scudra during the regular season. He is in net now. Back out onto the point. Laukkanen locked out into the high slot area. It'll be cleared out. Larry Zelepukin got it out into the middle. Pittsburgh Penguins save percentage as a team, the only one of the playoff teams that had a save percentage below 90. 9-0-0. Others all were better than that. So that's been a problem, the net minding thing. It's why they made the change and got Ron Tugnutt in. And why he's been their starter in the playoffs. Out to center, Flyers had to wait to get on side. Kovalev will take it away. Kovalev back into the middle on the dangerous pass up the near side boards. 5-2 score. Swung around, Morozov could not control it. Red line, it came free. Kovalev again. Kovalev makes the move on Zelepukin. Moved it in, got stood up. Flyers just clear it out one more time. Popovich was there to take it. Almost 4 minutes into period number 3. Gillis got that one up and out of there. Bear in mind, Recchi's looking for records in this game, as he's had a 5-point game already, involved in every goal, 1 goal, 4 assists. And that'll be touched up by Luke Richardson. A reminder, coming up next, the PGA Tour's elite players hit the green in the Big Easy. It's the final round of the Compact Classic of New Orleans. That's coming up next on ABC.
I mentioned Luke Richardson and not being a real accurate shooter. He got 2 goals during the regular season. That would be the argument. Luke Richardson definitely was shooting the puck at Bob Boughner. No two ways about that. But to think that he wanted to hit him in the throat, intentionally in the throat, one thing that you can control as a player, though, is the height of the puck that you're shooting at. And without question, he shot it high. So the Penguins have fallen here on the bench. There's so many spaces on the bench. It looks like just a bunch of guys sitting over there for practice. Barnaby's gone, Yager's gone, now Booker's gone.
Gary Slager's playing with a bad knee. Save made by Scooter off the near side. Very little ice time for Jaromir Jagr in this game as he came on and played just 1 shift in the second period and 5:04 total. As he's out of there with that thigh that was a serious condition for him during the season. They were worried about blood clots in it and how serious it is now. It's the same thigh. It'll take time. Leclerc bringing it in. Slager took him out. Leclerc reached in and held it in. Leclerc heads out a little limply there. He took a pretty good shot to the thigh from Yuri Slager. Sent in by Ian Moran in behind the net. Adam Burt came back to get it. Delmore will dump that one out of there. Delmore has become an outstanding story and a surprise. A couple of goals in this game. Centering pass came back into the middle. Jones trying to run it in. Down they go. Jones just tried to roll right over Hans Johnson and did.
Little stick handling display there by Keith Jones.
Little aerial work too. Let's check in with Brian again. Brian Ingram.
Guys, a couple of minutes ago you were talking about Luke Richardson. You know, if you go back to last year, he was at rock bottom at this time of the year. He was their 8th defenseman on the list, never played at all. Over the summer, he sold his house. He was sure he was going to be traded. Then Steve Duchesne was not re-signed. The tragic death of Dmitry Chertishny gave him a spot in the lineup, and he decided he was just going to have fun this year. He said his wife was great to him. He said, just go out there and enjoy yourself. He has, and he has been a big factor all season and tremendous here in the playoffs. Great story.
And he had a career best plus 14 having fun, which somehow just seems to work out that way. Luke Richardson, certainly a man who can play physical hockey. Scudra knocked it away from Tucker. He's got a try.
It is raining hats in Philadelphia. Who said you got to be drafted to be a player in the NHL? Who said you got to be drafted to score a hat trick in the Stanley Cup playoffs? Delmore was never drafted in his draft year. 2 years later, he led the OHL in scoring, made the first All-Star team in junior hockey, and the Flyers signed him as a free agent. They're even throwing the orange wigs.
Darius Kasparaitis assisting.
Oh, look at the hats I've never seen. I have never seen this many hats.
They brought out the wheelbarrow, one of the largest collections of hats for a hat trick I've seen in a long time.
It's amazing. The top end that you're seeing is the Pittsburgh end. It is just littered with hats.
Hey, Banger, this looks like my closet. Usually it's shoes and socks and stuff, but look at this. There are hats, there are wigs, there are towels.
Why didn't Darren
We'll try and get this cleaned up, guys.
Brian, get him an orange wig.
Get Panger an orange wig.
I tried to find one.
And while you're at it, get a double XL hat for me, okay?
Can't find one.
There's one coming in the wheelbarrow for you.
There, the wheelbarrow's heading your way. And they're all for Andy Delmore.
Look at the big smile. Delmore becomes the 5th player this year to have a playoff hat trick. Billy Guerin, Martin Lapointe, Doug Waite, Scott Young, and now Andy Delmore, the rookie. Delmore, over 21 minutes of ice time, leading all rookies in the playoffs this year in ice time, and that's only going to increase after you get a hat trick. What a game, what a series for Delmore. 6-2 Flyers.
One more look at it. The Flyers had pressured on this play, and Keith Jones went and got his own rebound and great torque on the stick. Boy, did he wade into that one, right in the wheelhouse. Andy Delmore just slammed that one into the back of the twine. Ryan and Darren, what are you guys doing right about now?
Well, we're just trying to enjoy the game, but I've heard of a hat trick, but a wig trick, I mean, that's something else. I look marvelous in red.
I can't see. I got so much hair.
We've never had that much hair before.
Get a haircut.
There's the wigless person that threw one of those. Boy, I'll tell you what, we'll just do about anything to get a laugh here, won't we?
Score 6-2. You better believe it. Delmore, don't take anything away from him.
Mario Lemieux saw many years of this kind of reaction from the crowd in Philadelphia because the Penguins had incredibly long droughts without being able to win a game. As a matter of fact, before this series started, they had not won here since 1994. They won both games 1 and 2 here, have the Flyers on the run. It is just the opposite right now.
Just bear in mind, however, we have already seen in this playoff year some wipeout games that have been followed by some real surprises, including San Jose, beaten by St. Louis 6-2, came back and won Game 7 by a score of 3-1.
I've always maintained, because I've been on both ends of these kinds of games, it is absolutely possible to win too big. You lose your edge, you think your opponent is mortally wounded, and that is when they get up off the canvas and deliver a knockout blow. And that will be Craig Ramsey's task in preparing these guys for Game 6, is forgetting about Game 5, just as Herb Brooks had to forget about Game 4 with his guys.
This game will be a lot easier to forget than the last one, I'll tell you. Tonight, following the Sharks and Stars on ESPN2, John Buccigross and Ray Ferraro will have an analysis of that game, the post-game reaction from here in Philadelphia, and a preview of the Leafs-Devils Game 6. That's NHL Tonight, ESPN2, following the Stars-Sharks game. There could be another elimination there. The Stanley Cup champions have a chance to move on with a victory. Valeri Zelepukin has gone to the box. He's going to be joined there by Rene Corbeil. As there are matching minors surrendered in, we'll skate 4-on-4 again. Officials obviously going to call a very tight third period in order to prevent anything from breaking out. Played back along the red line by Kovalev. We go 4-on-4 again here. The hat-trick goal came at 5:17. Delmore now has 5 goals in the playoffs, all in this series. Tocchet and Primo picked up the assists on it. Delmore is the first rookie D in an expansion era to score a hat-trick in the playoffs. The first rookie defenseman in the expansion era to have a hat-trick. Wow. Shot and a save made by Boucher. The 6-2 lead in this game. So Delmore, with the 5 goals, leads the team in this series against Pittsburgh in goals and points, and pretty soon in ice time.
I wonder how many people didn't have him in a playoff pool. Everybody?
It'd be a lot easier to count those who did, yeah. The one who may have picked him up because he was a Phantoms fan. Gary Slager off the near side. Played by Ian Moran. Moran moves it up. One thing, obviously, this blowout game does for Pittsburgh, just to allow Jaromir Jagr not to even question about coming back here. Lankow going for his second, taken down. He's all right. Moran reached in on him and is going to pay a price as Recchi went after him. Try it again. Lankow centered, sneaking in McGillis, and it went by him.
Dan McGillis had seen Andy Delmore do it, so I'm just going to step in here. But unfortunately for McGillis, he's a left-hand shot.
Down to 12:45 left to go here in the third period. McGillis drops it in the middle. Gets it back. Dan McGillis open. Doesn't take it. Therrien does. Save made. Skudra. Save made. Skudra. Both times Therrien. Skudra lost his stick on the second one. Peter Skudra getting his first playoff action ever. Near side is Martin Straka. Straka centered right through the top of the crease. Laukkanen's shot was deflected behind it. Desjardins came back to pick it up. That double team cleared it off the boards. And Valeri Zelepukin will turn it up ice. Philly wants to change right here, so it'll be sent in wide. brings it up. Corbet followed the play, lost at center by Scudra. Adam Bird bounced it in off the back of Martin Straka. Played back out by the Pens. 11:48 left to go here in the third. Delmore. Well, Delmore's got time to go for 4. He's got a lot of time left here in the third period, and he has been open in this game. He's found the empty ice.
In his wildest dreams, even this morning at 8 a.m. at Denny's, where he told me he was eating his pre-game meal of French toasted pancakes, he could not have dreamed that this would be a hat-trick day.
Could not. There's no way. I mean, he didn't even think he was going to be here. Back to get it in behind the net, Delmore. Somewhere there's a commercial opportunity coming. Score! Brown out in front on the backhand deflection. And it is a 6-3 game.
Inching closer. Inching closer. But without Jaromir Jagr, the outcome of this game is in the hands of the Flyers. And if they tighten it up and play the kind of team D that they can play, then the outcome will be definitely a W for the Flyers, because the Penguins do not have Jaromir Jagr. He could make this real interesting because Jagr can change a game by himself in a couple of quick shifts. Delmore actually got pushed off the puck on that one. So while Delmore has a hat trick, when he's watching video on the off day tomorrow, his coach might show him that one and say, hey, listen, remember, we have to take care of our end before we fill the net at the other end.
So Rob Brown, first goal of the playoffs. It comes at 8:42 and makes it a 6-3 game. So all of a sudden, all those minutes of shutout that have been picked up by Boucher are lost in the haze. 184 minutes and 32 seconds of shutout hockey he played, going back to the last game and the 5 overtimes, and then in this one before Pittsburgh finally scored.
What a bizarre quirk, though. 180 minutes, that's the equivalent of 3 games, yet nowhere in the stats will it ever show that he actually had a shutout game.
So much of that came from a game, the overtime. Centering pass by Lang. Yuri Slager's shot deflected. And all of a sudden, for the next couple of minutes, this game gets really interesting. Right up by Tocchet, because if the Pen could get another one here in the next 2 minutes, they bring themselves very much within striking distance. Jones is on the far side. Poke checked away from him by Slager and moved out of the zone. Morozov will flip it in. 8:42. Brown from right. Brown gets his first of the playoff year, 12th of his playoff career. We've had 2 power play goals that all of a sudden look really important. Both scored by Philadelphia. Delmore getting one and Recchi the other. They're 2 for 2 in the power play. Pittsburgh unable to take advantage of their 2 power play chances. Pitt's got to get back on side. Janssen dumped that one back in. Cleared right back out. Langkow off the board for Leclerc. Leclerc goes wide for Recchi. Recchi looking for another. Save made Scudra. And played off the far side. Verdina, the intended, had it blocked in the corner. Larkin had to come back to get it. Looking for those long up, nice passes. Martin Straka, his chance. Glove save made. Boucher will hang on. So Pittsburgh unwilling to go away with 9:32 to go, down 6-3. Gary Thorne, Bill Clement, all of our crew on hand here for this one. Brian Ingram, Darren Pang keeping us updated on stories surrounding these 2 teams. There have been a lot of them deflected in front. Pittsburgh's come this close to making this a 2-goal game. They continue to get that puck in the crease area, but unable to get another one home here in a hurry. Knocked away from Hull. Kasparaitis drove it deeper into the zone. In the middle. Mandeville paid a price as he got rid of it. It'll be feathered into the far side. Popovich will go back to get it. Kasparaitis came over to help protect. Cleared around the near side to Kovalev. Kovalev looking at Mandeville moving up on him. Kasparaitis. Brown is back out there on the ice. Tyler Wright with him, and Kovalev dumped in. Not out. Kovalev. Brown goes to the front. Kovalev tied up by McGillis. Taken away by Hull. Jody Hull. Again, just chops that one out in the high flip.
Jody Hull's a handy guy to have around with a 6-3 lead or a 6-4 lead, any kind of lead. Why? He never changes how he plays. He made the safe play there, dumping it out on the forecheck. He's one of the few Flyers that is still getting in deep and hitting.
And they need to keep doing that with 8:27 to go. Right, dropped it off all alone. Great save by Scudra. All alone in the middle was Peter White. Take a look at our Max Life storyline from Philadelphia. Delmore, first career playoff hat trick for the rookie. Recchi, a goal and 4 assists, tying a club mark for assists and points in a game.
Now Max Life replays the story of Andy Delmore. Tuesday night in Pittsburgh. It was game 3. He scored in the first period. Then Hull to Jones to Delmore. And Andy Delmore ended game 3 with a winning goal in overtime. Today here in Philadelphia, game 5. Bang to the shelf on 1. Explosive speed to catch up for a 3-on-1 for goal number 2. And then bang, another laser for goal number 3. And oh yeah, Darren and Brian were keeping us up to date on hat sizes and wig shapes and colors.
He now has as many goals as Jaromir Jagr does in this series. How about that? For Andy Delmore. He played 39 games with the Philadelphia Phantoms, had 12 goals and 14 assists for them. Backhanded in, another save had to be made, and Morozov trying to sneak one in, couldn't, as Boucher held on. Let's check it again with John Saunders. John.
All right, guys, time for the 1-800-COLLECT great save of the day. And J.D. Boucher, he's given up 3 goals, but he's been terrific.
Oh, he really has. He was good early in the game when he had to be. And watching this series develop, you see Boucher, he's not, you don't see great leg saves, great arm saves. He's always in good position. Doesn't play at all like a rookie.
Very efficient.
And there he is, Boucher, going for his 7th win in the playoffs, 6-3. Did he carry a spare?
He had to do an end around to the Zamboni entrance and reclaim his wig, or he's a really bright guy and carries a spare.
That would be scary, wouldn't it?
It's scary anyway. Are you kidding me?
That would really be scary if you carry an extra wig along with you. Oh my. Taka dumps that one in wide. Goudreau came in for Tugnut here in this period and has given up 1 goal. Shots are now 35-29 in favor of the Flyers, as both teams piling up shots in this game. Philadelphia averaged 30 shots a game during the regular season, which was 4th most. Pittsburgh only 26th. They were 23rd in the league in shots. And both of these teams over their marks on average. Slager fake, got McGillis to go for it, takes the chance, and high. Cleared up the near side boards and out of there as Philadelphia looks to get the puck up ice. Make Pittsburgh come the full length to get any chances.
Ooh, just another miss by Mark Recchi. A turnover by the Penguins, and his spin-around move just scooted by the post.
He's probably angry that he didn't have a point on the last goal. Third back up is the only one he's missed out on. Up the near side, Vranic, little room in the middle. Ozog moves it into Straka, dropped off, save made, and cleared to the sideboards. Ooh, that was close too. Pittsburgh, you have to say, for the mental toughness of staying in a game like this, the Pens have done a pretty good job. National Hockey League playoffs on ABC next Sunday. We'll bring you coverage of the conference final action. The chase to the cup continues. Check your local listings or log on to abcsports.com for the name of the game in your area on ABC next Sunday. Be at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific, by the way.
Way more room now for the Penguins, too. The Flyers are kind of cruising out here with a 6-3 lead and going to allow guys to jump up on the play. Marty Straka with a nice little pass here. Brian Boucher was actually moving to his right. Laukkanen, a defenseman, had moved up on the play to make it an odd man rush. But still, there isn't the back check. I mean, this game is spread out now. Players aren't clustered. Nobody really is playing tight D out there, and both teams are still generating scoring chances because of it.
Making it tougher on both netminders here in this third period. In Philadelphia, Ruby just played it in. Kasparaitis back to get it. Vanderbilt up on the check in front of the net, was circled the other way. Kasparaitis starting at 6:30 to go in this third period. Tuesday night back in Pittsburgh. Pens will have to regroup. It'll be a must-win situation for them. Delmore high off the glass far side, went by Hull. Kasparaitis shot. Played near side towards Kovalev. Kovalev trying to get it back to a point. Had it blocked that time by Richardson. Still held it in. Kovalev looking. Kasparaitis on the far wings, the man he wanted, but he couldn't get it through. Right out by Berube, it got taken down. Played by Scudra at the other end. Pavic came back to get it. Both teams will change it up. Brown breaking. Icing call coming. Richardson and Brown. And it is touched by Richardson first. So the Pittsburgh Penguins in this series tied at 2-2. Also have time running out here. 5:53 and they're down by 3.
Check the corner of your collective life.
Philadelphia in the springtime is one of this country's beautiful cities. Independence Hall downtown, a lot of parks, a lot of grass, green, flowers, a lot of historical societies that keep the gardens growing in this city. And it really is a beautiful city to walk in anyway, but especially in the springtime. You find some little benches by some of those old churches, take newspapers to read, and a flower garden.
Full of history, too.
Yeah, oh, is it ever. Backed out of there by Ian Moran, and Philadelphia looking to make more history here in this game and in this series as they try and move on. They'll go to Pittsburgh, it looks like, with the lead in the series 3-2, but they got to get through the next 5 minutes and 20 seconds, and the Pens have shown no desire to disappear. Corbet cleared it out. The crisscross Lang goes on the far side. Morozov had a poke check away, back for Lang, but behind him. Rick Tocchet plays it. Tocchet looked up the boards and got it out of there. Zelapukin dumped it down the wall, forcing Hans Johnson to come back and having to play it. Herb Brooks, 19 and 18 in the playoffs in his NHL coaching history. And, of course, for Craig Ramsey, 6 and 3. I find it interesting with all the stories we've done regarding Nielsen and Ramsey. All of the publications put out for the playoffs, including the daily logs on these teams, there is no indication of Craig Ramsey as interim coach. It is head coach Craig Ramsey, period. Back it comes into the zone. Hrdina's got it. Hrdina dropped that one off on the far side. Bogner trying to hit. Hrdina coming into the middle. Desjardins gave it the bat up and over the glass. Let's talking about Herb. Let's check in with Brian again. Brian Engvall.
Actually, Gary,
Darren, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm a lot taller than Brian is, but Herb Brooks was actually a fella that scouted Andy Delmore when Herb was the pro scout for the Pittsburgh Penguins before he became the head coach. He really wanted the Penguins to sign young Andy Delmore, knowing his full potential. The bottom line was the Penguins at that time financially, could they afford to take a gamble? Eventually, Philadelphia signs Andy Delmore, gives him a $50,000 signing bonus, not much by today's standards. This year he makes $260,000 in the NHL and $45,000 in the American Hockey League. Great deal for Philadelphia.
Well, they can forget about that American League salary, right, Darren?
You bet.
For at least the next couple of years.
He's the first Flyer defenseman to have a playoff hat trick. Delmore behind the net. Recchi knocked away. Tyler Wright got it up to Brown. And Brown had a comment about his inability to clear the puck. Came back into the slot area, turning with it, almost Lankow, but he got knocked down coming through the middle as Brown reached out on him there. Flyers side check put on by McGillis. Kovalev paid the price twice. And another bouncing puck that had to be covered up by Brian Boucher. Brown trying for another one in the game.
Well, one positive for the Penguins in a sea of negatives is that Yuri Slager, there he is, number 71, has come through this game and he looks all right. He twisted his knee in Game 3. Did not make the overtime stanza in Game 3, and he missed Game 4, but he is back here, and he is a valuable guy to the Penguins because he is their best two-way defenseman. Pretty mobile, plays their power play at times, and good defensively, and he's strong enough to play against the big Flyers forwards. Positive for the Flyers, they have not had to wear out Eric Desjardins, who is their horse on the blue line. He played a lot in OT in Game 4, the marathon game, but even in that game, Luke Richardson and Dan McGillis both played more than Eric Desjardins. So from this game is also a Flyers positive in that their main defenseman is going to have a lot of energy left for Game 6, and they were always concerned with Desjardins getting worn down and worn out in the playoffs because he's not a big guy.
Another big advantage of being able to adjust the playing time where you've got that lead. And the big question tomorrow on the day off will be the condition of Jaromir Jagr, whether or not he's going to be able to come back. A thigh injury acting up on him again today. Just over 5 minutes played, that was it. Corbet's shot got deflected by Adam Burke. Boucher had to play that. Delmore cleared it around, and it goes through Slager and will have to be played. The near side, Berube gave a big reach for it, could not get to it. Mark Recchi out here, having picked up the goal and 4 assists. Thought you might be wondering, the record for points in a playoff game is 8. Set twice. Patrick Sundstrom did it with the New Jersey Devils against Washington back in '88. And Mario Lemieux, the owner of the Pittsburgh Penguins, did it in '89. He picked up 5 goals and 3 assists in a game against Philadelphia. They are the leaders in most points in a singular playoff game, Sundstrom and Lemieux. Kicked away by Hrdina, rolled into the crease, swept out. And just sitting there on Peter Skudra, but he got a little help that time. Forward back in front of him. Mark Straka cleared it out. Skudra the save. White shot deflects in the corner. Pittsburgh and Philadelphia both change up ice. Baranek comes. Baranek in the middle. Shot blocked. McGillis again. Played it off, not out. Baranek held it in. Chopped it down the boards. There's Tocchet with the intercept. That'll force Kasparaitis back in his own end. Closing in on the 2-minute mark here in this third period. Philadelphia jumped out early in this game. That has made the difference. They took stuffing out of the Pens with a goal at 23 seconds into the game. Ended up building a 5-0 lead before Tyler Wright finally scored at 15:06 of the second. And Pittsburgh's never been able to get consecutive goals in this game. That's why Flyers have been able to maintain a multiple goal lead.
The Flyers opened up this game with all of the momentum. We knew they would after winning that marathon game. And we said the one thing the Penguins had going for them was the most dangerous offensive player in the world. Jaromir Jagr was ineffective and then gone. So that element was removed for Pittsburgh. And clearly they never regained any of that momentum back in this game. Even when they scored goals, they just come out with a big burst after.
Outstanding play by Langkow. Morozov intercepted that pass, had it on the forehand, and Langkow tied him up. Here comes Leclaire. Leclaire, big blast. That one deflected into the corner. Ian Moran blocked that. Moran follows it up, turns it back in behind the net. 1 minute left to go. 1 minute, and the Philadelphia Flyers are going to have a 3-2 lead in this series. And the fans, full house, 19,000 plus on their feet. That'll go back to Delmore. He'll play it back at center. Recchi a goal and 4 assists. Is 5 points, tying the team record. Delmore, first Philadelphia defenseman with a hat trick. 3 goals in the game. Leclaire 3 assists. Primo 2 assists. Only multiple point man for the Pens, Tyler Wright, who's 1-1. So in Pittsburgh on Tuesday, it'll be a must-win situation for Mario Lemieux's franchise.
Will they be capable of winning? Absolutely. I think it took this game for them to get Game 4 out of their system. Jaromir Jagr obviously will be a huge key. His health will be a factor. But can it be a good game, and can the Penguins win? Absolutely.
They're going to have to, because this one is over. Flyers 6, Pens 3. And there's the rookie, Andy Delmore. And Philadelphia takes a 3-2 edge in the series. A long night for Kasparaitis, who had it mostly go the wrong way. Our final score here, Philadelphia defeating Pittsburgh 6-3. As they came out with a flurry in this game, and for Herb Brooks' team, they could not regroup once they fell behind in that first period on 2 quick goals. Stay tuned for more with John Saunders and John Davidson. They'll be coming up after these messages. For Bill Clement, Brian England, Darren Pang, and all of our crew, it's been a happy day in Philly.
And welcome back once again to our Stanley Cup playoff studios. John Saunders and John Davidson. In a game where 9 goals are scored, you don't often talk about the goaltender, but Brian Boucher, here's a rookie who has been tremendous.
You know, you think about the way he's been able to stop the puck. It's very impressive, John, but I think more than that, it's his nerves. Here's a rookie that was asked late in the regular season to be the leader for that hockey club in the playoffs. He's been involved in some very, very tight games, long overtime games, and he hasn't blinked. His focus is magnificent. He does not allow bad goals, and he's certainly gotten the job done for this team. I think more than that, the Philadelphia Flyers are built for the long term. Bobby Clarke brought in a lot of big bodies, and that is starting to show in this series where they're wearing down the Pittsburgh Penguins. Kasparaitis is hurting, Slager's hurting, Jagr's hurting, Kovalov is not 100% healthy. The Penguins really have to regroup.
Yeah, Jagr only playing about 5 minutes in that game, combined first period and the second period. Following us, here is the Compact Classic of New Orleans. For more on that, let's join Roger Twibel.
Thanks, John. We're at the English Turn Golf and Country Club for final round action of the Compact Classic of New Orleans. And the scores have been going low. Carlos Franco, the defending champion, Curtis, at the second hole. This for birdie.
A par 5 that Carlos could get on in 12 feet for birdie.
That would move him to 15 under. So the co-leader after 54 holes moved on to the third and another birdie opportunity.
A par 3, big par 3. Flags took all the way back right, playing 199, and this picks up a shot on the field, making birdie on the third.
This man knows how to make birdies at this golf course. The defending champion Franco right now with a one-shot lead over Harrison Frazier, Blaine McAllister, and Stephen Ames.
They're all playing well, and they're going low today. Lack of wind, score should be good.
You can see Franklin Langham there has gone out early, 9 under through 17. Right now, let's send it back to John Saunders in New York.
All right, Roger, thanks a lot. Look forward to that in about 10 minutes' time. Now, more news from Philadelphia. As you know, Eric Lindros has not played this playoff season due to problems with concussion. He was working his way back. In fact, this week was working out with the Philadelphia Phantoms of the American Hockey League team, collided with another player, about 20 stitches, and we are now told he suffered another concussion and he is done for the season.
Well, he was examined by telephone. He talked to his doctor in Chicago by telephone, and they've determined that it's another grade 2 concussion, his 5th concussion that he's had. I think for Eric Lindros right now, John, he's got to make a major decision what he's going to do with his future. Hopefully now he'll take the rest of the season off, really try to build himself up during the offseason. Whether he gives it one more shot to play, I don't know. He does have a large insurance policy in place. That may take effect. There's a lot of different questions regarding the future of Eric Lindros. And remember, his brother Brett, a first-rounder with the New York Islanders, had to retire prematurely because of head injuries. I hope Eric's able to come back, but I hope he also does what's right for himself and his own health for his future.
Let me ask you this, because your career was cut short because of knee problems and such. Facing that type of decision when you had to do it, what is he going through right now?
First of all, financially, he's fine. Where we, as players years ago, didn't have that luxury. I think for Eric, he's a competitive guy, and he's still young, and he wants to play. I talk to him 2 or 3 times a week. This guy wants to play. Now, whether that's the right thing or not, he has to determine that with his family, himself, along with his doctor. So I hope he's able to come back, but if he doesn't, it wouldn't surprise me.
The other question in this series right now is Jaromir Jagr. We told you he played about 5 minutes in the game. We thought it was a shoulder problem, went off doing this type of thing.
In watching the previous games on ESPN, you could see during the games the training staff massaging his thighs, working his thighs as he's sitting on the bench during the games. Today, he was bumped into the boards and was giving it this one going to the bench, so we thought maybe a shoulder, it could be his leg. He does have problems. He's not healthy. He had the flu late in the season. He had a back problem late in the season. He's not 100%. That's rather obvious. Again, we don't know if he'll be back for the next game.
Yeah, we'll find out. Game 6 is coming up in a couple of days. Right now, though, we want to take you back to Philadelphia. Brian Engblom is standing by with a guy who was pretty good with the puck today.
Welcome back to Philadelphia. It's been quite a story here this afternoon. Andy Delmore scored a hat trick. Andy, in Game 3, you got the overtime winner. You get a hat trick here tonight. Tell me about both those experiences and how you're feeling right now.
First one in overtime, that was probably the best feeling I ever scored an overtime winner in a Stanley Cup playoffs. And today was just some lucky bounces, I think, and some great passes by my teammates. John Leclerc made a great one on the second one. Keith Primo, Mark Recchi made a great one to me, and it's a huge win for us to have some momentum here and hopefully wrap this series up as quick as we can.
Well, the fans are being great to you here. I know the coaching staff and Craig Ramsey has showed an awful lot of confidence in you right now, and obviously your confidence is very high.
Yeah, the coaching staff's been unbelievable. At practice, ice time, I can't complain. It's the playoffs, and they have the courage to throw me out there, and it's just been unbelievable the last couple weeks here.
Game 4 was a new experience for everybody. I got to ask you about those 5 overtimes, that experience, and how it affected you here this afternoon.
Something I was kind of surprised today that I actually felt pretty good out here today. It was kind of nice that I got a goal early. It kind of got some life into my legs a little bit, I think. And I can't believe that game went that long. That was an experience that I'm going to be able to tell everybody that I played in that game, and it was pretty cool.
Thanks very much, Andy. Congratulations.
Thanks,
Andy Delmore had pancakes this morning. He scored 3. If he'd have had the Grand Slam, he might have had 4.
He is the first rookie defenseman ever to record a playoff hat trick. It is the 10th defenseman to do it. It's happened 11 times. Paul Reinhart has done it twice.
Philadelphia, we always wondered, where is their offense going to come from with the defensemen? We knew Desjardins could add offense, but where would the rest of it come from? And all of a sudden, here's a new guy in the playoffs, Andy Delmore. He's been fantastic, and it's added an element of surprise from the Philadelphia Hockey Club with their offense.
Yeah, joining the rush on just about every opportunity has looked tremendous, and he can finish, too, which is another nice part of that. The Sharks and the Stars, they play tonight. You can see that game on ESPN2. And in this game, you're looking at a situation where Dallas is going to try and close out the Sharks, and when they do that, Eddie Balfour's been pretty good in his career.
Not bad at all. We talked about Shields having to play well in goal for San Jose. We talked about Owen Nolan having to play well. Eddie Balfour's numbers, John, when he has a chance to close out a series, 14-1. In other words, when he gets into a game where they're going to close the other team out of the playoffs, his lifetime record, 14-1. It's a remarkable number. I don't think Eddie Balfour gets the attention he should. He's a world-class goaltender. He's proven that in winning a championship last year, and he's had a very, very strong regular season, a good start to the playoffs this year.
Now, the other factor in the West right now is Colorado was the first team to wrap up this second-round series. That happened on Friday. That means they're going to get about 8 or 9 days of rest, and Raymond Bourque was already almost ready to come back.
Yeah, he's back skating, which is a great sign for them. When you look at their series, their goaltender, Patrick Waugh, was fantastic. He's on a mission again. What's interesting is Detroit has always had their third and fourth lines that could beat the other team's third and fourth lines. That didn't happen. Nope. Colorado's third and fourth lines were fantastic in the series. Peter Forsberg up front was the best player, period, in the series. The Avalanche have really gotten a lot of people thinking about how good they are. They had questions going in. How good were they going to be? Could the young guys come through? But everybody on this hockey club has played to their potential to this point.
If there's an advantage to losing Raymond Bourque, it meant that Skula got a little more time, and he looked pretty good in the time that he played. Don't forget, right here on ABC, next Sunday, live, 3 o'clock Eastern time, it'll be the first or second game of the conference finals. You can see that right here on ABC, and it's been a great playoff already, and we expect it to continue that way. For John Davidson, I'm John Saunders. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again next week as the conference finals get underway. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports in association with ESPN. ABC Sports is online at abcsports.com. ABC Sports, continuing the tradition of excellence.